potheads and political junkies. Now you're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. Oh, but the volume here.
We got no volume?
We do. There
Hi,
we
guys.
go. What's up? Yeah, the live stream, every time we open it, it's got a volume issue no matter what these days. Even when we fix it every single time beforehand. So what's going on, pot TVers out there? We're kind of set up in the corner here. We're just kind of chilling, taking a casual, relaxing afternoon. I was up all night working on the new Cannabis Culture website, which you can check out at cannabisculture.com and pot.tv.
It was pretty cool. I was checking it out at about 5 a.m. this morning. You made it live. I liked it, clicked on it. It was doing some pretty funky stuff at 5 a.m.
Well, we were still doing testing at that time. We were like, once the site goes live, it's a massive site. This site actually goes back to 1995 when Carlos, our web guy, built a customized CMS, a content management system. We had a whole bunch of content that's really old. That was imported into Drupal, which is a content management system, now into our new WordPress system,
What's
which is
Drupal?
Drupal's like another older content management system. It's all quite complicated, but
and managed the weed site though.
it's
so that
pretty.
Was a good thing.
It's pretty dope. Annette is amazing. Was able to successfully transfer all the data and get it over. There's still a few things here and there. There's some broken links. We're getting 404s. It'll all be fixed within a couple weeks.
A lot of 404s on my stuff.
Yeah.
Every time I clicked anything to do with me, I saw 404, 404.
What your stuff?
just
What
kidding.
stuff do you have?
Nothing.
Actually, you know what's funny is I looked up your rosin article yesterday as a test just to see, and it was looking really slick.
You know what? That's rosin's turned into frozen now. Frozen. Yeah, Frozen Master Fresh. Okay. I didn't
Frozen
say it.
Master Fresh.
I didn't say it.
I love it.
I was told that
Frozzy
they don't
Fresh?
change it. It is what it is. It's done. It's frozen.
We just call you Frozzy.
It works. It's tasty. And the little bit of moisture could be a great thing. I'm dabbing. Here, I'll trade.
So, you guys okay with the sound out there? We're not. Yeah, you don't eat the mic there, Johnny B. So we got Kiwi in the house here. The Red Eye Jedi. Now, this guy is going to be bringing you guys some amazing stuff coming up really soon here. Like, literally today. Once we get it posted on the site, he's already just submitted me something right basically before the show, some awesome material. And
What are you submitting?
well, I think Kiwi's going to tell you a little bit about what he's doing himself. He might be the best guy to describe this stuff. So where's a microphone here? Here, you take this one.
And you can just keep on interviewing me and ask
Ready?
me what's going on and
I was
stuff.
gonna throw this to you.
I could catch it.
Okay,
maybe,
I can
but
ask
now
you
I already
some
have one.
questions.
All right, cool. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay,
Frosmaster
so
Fresh.
what's your name?
My name is Kiwi. It's Jay, but everyone calls me Kiwi because I'm
Yeah.
from New Zealand, so
You're
that
from New
kind of helps.
Zealand?
It's
No.
not that I like
How long have you
fruit
been
and shoe
smoking
polish.
ganja for?
Since I was maybe 12 and a half.
Have you been
and
using it medically for?
Since I was 12 and a half. So
Nice job.
that's pretty much
job.
what's going on.
Do you prefer to use bongs, papers, or all of the above?
All of the above, but as a
Nice.
preference, I do like doobies, especially if they're an exotic or landrace strain. But in general, I do appreciate
Do you like all
glass.
forms of cannabis, no
I
matter
do.
which way it is?
I do actually. I do
So that's,
appreciate.
it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, I've asked all my questions, so I mean, I'll leave. You're the whole. Here you go.
This
Good
is
questions, Johnny. Very insightful comments. That you just got right down to the core of the issues.
the nitty
We
gritty.
needed to know the details. A for one, does he puff? B for two, does he appreciate it? B for three, is he all about it? So we had. Whoa, Ted just walked in.
Ted Smith in the house.
Super
Wearing an
celebrity.
old school
Super
Cannabis
celebrity.
Culture T-shirt and carrying some Cannabis Digest.
That's what's
and
up.
a beautiful sun hat.
Nice.
How you doing, Ted? Good to see you, man. We
Super
are
live.
live. Here, give me
Live
a
and
hug,
direct.
brother.
Let's do it.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
What's up, Ted? How is it, bro?
So we were just talking to.
Nice.
Yeah. We got the whole crew here.
Yeah, pass us on the tit.
Oh well, we got to talk to you, but here, let's talk to Ted for a second here. We'll talk to Ted for a sec here. Yeah, here we go. You talk to Ted. Ted, what are you doing in town, Ted?
I didn't do it.
Ted, what are you doing in town?
What the hell are you doing in
Everything
town?
I can get my hands on.
This town's not big enough for the both of us.
Have you seen this?
Everything
Oh, that's
you can
that
get your
rosin
hands
that
on.
you're making up?
Frozen.
Rosin. Cool.
It's got a new name now.
It's fresh frozen rosin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's
Nice.
fresh frozen bubble hat squished. So it got.
There's preservation there for sure.
Whoa,
Well, that looks like beautiful honey there.
like a
It's
ninja.
actually.
So, Mr. Smith, how are you?
Um,
How's
I'm doing okay.
yeah?
It's been a hell of a year,
No kidding.
but certainly, this Supreme Court of Canada decision has been incredible to experience, and
Yeah.
very
What a
very
big
happy
win,
with that.
huh?
And
Massive win.
as many people know, my girlfriend Gail has almost been dying, or she should have died of cancer almost last year.
Right.
She's one of the four that
the lovely Gail.
testified in the trial.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't know if she was going to die when I was in Ottawa, let alone hear the decision. So to have her up and kind of getting on her feet while the court
That's
decision came
fantastic.
through, it's been
That's
so
amazing.
intense. I can't.
No kidding, man.
Yeah, just at times I just find myself on the verge of tears for no reason at all. Just I'm so stressed.
I don't doubt it, Ted. I don't
Cannabis
doubt
saves
it. Yeah,
lives,
it's not for no reason at all. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Wow, but the Smith win, I mean, Ted, you're very intimately related to this case, obviously because of Gail, but also because of Owen.
Well,
and
Owen was my
Cannabis
employee.
Club.
It's kind of funny, as I've said, like, Owen's just been along for the ride. He didn't manage the case. Kirk was in court, but I'm the one that got the expert witness. Kirk had never even heard of Dr. Pate before that. And, Owen didn't even testify. I got all the witnesses together. I talked with Kirk about the nuances of case law while Owen just sat there with his eyes wide open. So,
Yeah.
But he's
Learning a
been,
lot.
an incredible person to work with.
Oh, Owen's a great guy, and also a very intelligent and knowledgeable person as well. And so, actually, I think he was just the right guy for this case in a lot of ways, because he was
Definitely.
he wasn't a pot insider necessarily to the core or something, but he was, he was a baker in a lot of ways too, right? So he kind of brought all of that together.
Well, it's been interesting because, he was just a quiet baker. He wasn't seeking attention.
Right.
It wasn't about Owen. It never has been.
He wasn't trying to be a flamboyant activist or something.
No, he wasn't getting in anybody's face. That's my job.
Right. Exactly. That's what Ted does. That's the other Smith.
So, in so many ways, the fact it was Owen is incredible because out of all the bakers I've ever had, he's got this gentle misdemeanor. Like,
Yeah.
he's just this cute little hippie boy with a big heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's super nice.
Yeah. So as a spokesperson for this, he's just been ideal. And I've had all sorts of other people in the bakery. The head baker now has got tattoos all over his head. I don't care, but some people would judge him for that. And so to have Owen be the face behind this, oh yeah, his whole brain's tattooed and all over. Yeah, he's an awesome guy, but some people would judge him for that.
We need to. No, Ted's good. We can see him a little bit.
Can I see him?
We're just.
I told her lean in.
There you are. Now we can
Yeah.
see you. I can see you.
So
Wanna see
yeah,
that
yeah.
awesome hat.
Owen's been great, and he's changed from being the baker to now helping me put the layout together, the Cannabis Digest, and it's been a
writing.
neat transformation because 5 years ago when it started, I owned the bakery or the Buyers Club, and he was my baker, and now I turned it into a nonprofit. It's running itself, and we're educating the country and changing the law.
It's funny because every time the government tries to crack down on somebody, it just has the opposite effect, where it breeds more people who get educated and who learn about these things and who go out and actually, the effect of them cracking down is that you guys are able to teach more people about what's going on and spread the message to more people.
And
so.
and it's
1
neat
minute warning.
1 minute
because
420.
we've been at the cutting edge of this because ever since we've gotten busted and brought the publicity out, about extracts and about dispensaries and the role they have in the community, that has spearheaded the proliferation of dispensaries because the need is obvious. The government's not meeting the need, and dispensaries are. It also, I think, has been a clear sign to the police that it's not worth busting these clubs because we're getting better at defending ourselves in court to the point now where, like, I'm changing federal law when they bust me and my buddies, right? And that's not serving their purposes. It's, spending a whole lot of time to change the law. So, the police have backed off, and that's why the cities are now looking at regulating because there's so many of us willing to do this. And the courts, we keep getting better. Our expert witnesses are getting better, and we're picking apart the Crown better all the time as well.
The
Kirk,
lawyers are chopping it down.
yeah, Kirk is just on fire in that room.
Happy 420, everybody. in the lounge here at 307 West Hastings on the second floor.
So yeah, it's been amazing to be, spearheading this whole evolution of the industry, like dabs as well. Like when we started this, it was about the cookies. There was no big movement towards using extracts. Everybody was smoking joints still, and like so. Yeah, but not like this whole dab phenomenon.
No, this thing is off the charts. The dab thing now.
Or frozen.
Yeah, or frozen. Yeah, right.
Frozen phenomenon.
Get it straight. Those names are. Yeah. No. Wow. Here we go.
Dabbing some frozen.
But yeah, I'm also here. Yeah. Yeah, fancy hot knives. That's what I tell people that don't know what it is. What's this dabbing? It's like they're hot kniving, Yeah.
Oh, man. But it sure makes it a lot easier than hot kniving.
Yeah. Don't burn your lips as much.
The hot knives, it really takes a lot of effort when you if you're a little too tipsy and you get them too close to your face. Beware. That can happen with the sublimator or other nails as well, I'm sure. You don't want them too close to the old face. Oh. Or other digits.
Cheers.
I have a few nail burns.
So
Ted,
cool.
You're in town because you're dropping off some Cannabis Digest here.
Delivering
in
the digest.
So
probably show
can you
one
show
off?
us an issue
Let's
and
do
tell us
that.
what's going on in it? Pardon me.
So, issue 45.
45. Yeah. What's it got on it?
Got a big moose.
I think I saw this online actually already, just like a picture of it.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
my friend Jay, he's actually looking after Gail this weekend while I'm over here.
You can see that here. The Magnuson cam. Yeah, you're right. A little lower, Neil. A little closer.
But yeah, and I'm doing a couple speaking events as well when I'm over here. Tonight at 7, I'm going to be at the Pain Management Society talking about the NORML Canada, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I'm putting a lot of effort into sort of reviving or growing NORML here in British Columbia and across the country.
Yeah.
And so September 19th, I'm going to be we're going to be hosting a big conference at the Croatian Center here, just off Commercial. And John Conroy and Kirk Tusaw are going to spend a fair amount of time talking about the Allard case and the Smith case and what it means and how it works and how things are going to proceed. In a way, my involvement in NORML, I'm actually sort of changing their mandate somewhat. They've been pretty strictly political till now, and I think they need to have more focus on law. They already have a bunch of lawyers around them. And,
in the U.S. they do.
Yeah, they have a law committee, and I was talking to Kirk about this, and apparently down there, they organize an annual convention for the lawyers. Yeah. And because lawyers have to go every year to some conference and get a credit for learning something, right? So we can get something put together here about cannabis, get it accredited by the Law Society, and then all the lawyers from across Canada would come to Vancouver, I think, with the first one.
Read some new Tusaws and Conroys.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Right? And get them working together. The other thing we need a directory. Yeah. We also need a directory of lawyers in Canada. That every city in Canada, we should have a list of who the lawyers are in town, what cases they've dealt with, and how much they cost. So when people get busted, they can find out who is the best legal resource in this courthouse. So NORML's got a few areas to work in, let alone coordinating on expert witnesses, training patient witnesses, and developing the affidavits and court paperwork that they file. These lawyers should be working together, right?
Yeah.
And the young lawyers helping the old ones.
Yeah, they bring up a lot of the same stuff in these cases.
Yeah.
And, by Kirk and Conroy and these guys having some of that institutional knowledge, that's some of the reasons we've done so well is because they've been able to build on these cases. But yeah, that
definitely
could be opened up and spread around. I don't know if these guys are going to want to share, but...
Oh, they do, yeah. Paul Lewin, who's really the main guy behind it in Toronto, he was already thinking this, but he was going to do it independent because NORML's been political.
Yeah.
And my involvement in NORML is really kind of changing the game a little bit and bringing a new life to it. And, in fact, after I said I was going to do a conference here, they're organizing one in Toronto now, the weekend after. They're flying John Conroy out there.
Right.
And we're having 2 NORML conferences now this fall.
Cool. Oh, great. Well,
So,
Paul's
and I'm hoping to
amazing.
have more in other cities across
And I
Canada.
think Craig Jones was also involved
Yep.
in doing.
He's
that
the
as
executive
well.
director,
That's right.
so he'll be at the one in Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So
actually
I want to
working
get
with
these
the
lawyers
same-
out more, get them
both
more
of those guys
active.
on with Normal.
Yeah, because
for a little bit.
you know almost all the changes we've seen in Canada have either been the result of court actions or people like us that are willing to go out and get busted, and then we don't. So then we keep pushing it a bit further, right? We haven't made political advancements in this country. You know, it's all been on the streets and in the courts, and that's where I think we need to focus. Sure, we need to vote, but
Right. Well, if we don't have any ballot initiatives, yeah, we have the courts. That's our next best thing, really.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
'Cause
and-
these politicians are never going to fucking do it. You
No.
know, unless we get like a rogue like Justin Trudeau, who
Yeah, but-
voted for Bill C-51. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Oh man.
So so I'm pretty excited about joining Normal, and then so that's tonight. I'm doing that, and then Sunday I'm speaking at this big conference thing that is being put on at the SFU Harbor Center at 9 o'clock in the morning. It starts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
what?
they know stoners?
Starts
8:30, I
today.
thought. 8? Oh.
Oh, the doors open at 8, but yeah, the talk doesn't.
Yeah,
Speakers
they know-
don't start till
don't they
9.
know stoners don't get up till 11:30.
It's gonna be tough. I
I'm here.
don't know.
What's the name? I'm forgetting the name of the conference now.
Oh, now you're gonna embarrass me.
I'm gonna
No,
find
I embarrassed
it.
myself. I brought it
It's
up.
the
Cannabis conference or
Canadian
something.
Cannabis conference or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Well, it's right here at the SFU building, just up the street here.
Yeah.
And
So the
actually,
after party's here,
quite
I'm assuming.
The lineup of people. Jody's going to be there.
Jody,
Owen is-
Mark.
Owen, I think, is chairing the whole thing.
I know.
Yeah.
He's barely even spoken at an event, and they got him moderating.
He's
Yeah.
moderating. Yeah. So, the selfies. Aw.
Yeah. So
One
yeah,
more,
it's going to be quite the collection.
So you're gonna have to like.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But yeah, so yeah, we're going to have me, Owen, and Kirk together, which will be our first time in public since we won at the Supreme Court of Canada. So it's
Cool.
probably really going to hit me tomorrow.
Are you guys going to do like an awesome,
or not tomorrow, Sunday.
crazy multiple high five?
I want Owen and I to put Kirk on our shoulders and hold Kirk
That's
like
not
up
bad.
in the
That's
air.
not bad. Yeah.
Because like he's the champ, man. He's the champ.
Yeah.
So
Had the Rocky music playing.
I'll carry most of the weight.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Owen's working on a farm a lot now, so he should be in shape. Yeah, I'd like to put Kirk up on our shoulders because he's a true hero to me. One day I hope this country has a statue for that man because he is an outstanding human being who has just worked exceptionally hard. He is so dedicated to this and so passionate. We are so blessed to have that man on our side.
Well, and the same goes for you, Ted, and that's how I feel about it. You've put a lot of time, effort, passion, dedication into this movement here in Canada, and everybody owes you a big, huge debt of gratitude. So,
Thanks.
and Gail
Well,
as well.
and I get it, my friend. Thank
Yeah.
you. Wherever
Yeah,
I
we
go,
love you.
it's
We
been
love you
kind
a
of
lot,
trippy
man.
these last 2 days going around Vancouver. I'm like getting recognized all over in ways. It's pretty neat.
It's the hat.
Cannabis warrior.
Yeah.
It's the hat.
But
They want some information about cannabis, and then they want you to wrestle an alligator.
I guess, but yeah, I meet the neatest people. I was just at the first ever Cannabis Cancer Center in Canada, possibly the world. Has anyone else ever heard of a cancer cannabis center? Granville Street. They're just getting ready to open. The Green Rhino, the guys that have been working up there, they've saved so many people with cancer in the last year. They're opening up a center specific for people with cancer.
I'd like to-
And it's phenomenal, like the energy.
stuff.
Well, they're getting a PhD doctor working right with them to do research full time.
Awesome.
So they're linking it right in with the research right from the very beginning, and they're really heavy on the CBD extracts and stuff like that, and just a few blocks away from the hospital. When they first told me about the project, I actually kind of pushed my way to be the chair of their advisory committee, but I've actually withdrawn from that because I just don't have the time or energy. It still takes a lot of my life to just help my girlfriend Gail, so like I can't overcommit myself right now. But I was so enthusiastic about it that I wanted to just run with it, right? But There's a lot of people that have been saved by cannabis already, and a lot of doctors that are opening their eyes to it. And I think this clinic and the focus on cancer that it's going to bring is going to be huge. It's really going to prove, beyond any shadow of a doubt in the most critical person's mind, that this is an incredible healing plant. There will be absolutely no doubt about it. Like, give that center 1 month of being in existence, and they'll be saving lives.
We're already there, honestly. Like, all of the bullshit about how, people still questioning the...
Well, then why is there a Pam McCall? Maybe is that a bad word around here?
How much evidence do we need before people say it's a super medicine? Yeah. No, it's so evidently
that was dirty.
The super medicine. It's just craziness.
I know. I'm
FCC sorry. And CRTC doesn't apply.
It was the frozen.
If Neil can wear those shorts on the air, then you can say anything you want. Like
the bar's been lowered a little, eh?
Yeah. Even without a microphone. Yeah. Super Ball. Isn't that your nickname?
But yeah, I'm honestly not entirely looking forward to the event on Sunday. And part of that is because I'm speaking on the history of cannabis on a panel with Chris Bennett. Now, I don't know if everybody knows Chris Bennett or not. I worship him. I refer to him as the Darwin of our times. Like, if they think Darwin turned the church on its head, they have no idea what Chris Bennett and his knowledge and information could do. It would, turn it inside out. And so, I'm going to be up there on the stage. Everything I say about the history of cannabis, I'm going to turn and go, is that right, Chris?
Yeah, he's going to be checking.
I'm such a space cadet. Yeah. I forgot to bring any of my books, right? I've written a book on the history of cannabis. So I'm going to be like, yeah, and I'm an author of a book. I know what I'm talking about. Right, Chris? So it's kind of intimidating, honestly.
And what is Chris speaking on? He's going to be talking
the
about...
history. Everything I miss. Yeah, everything I forget to say. That's what Chris is going to be talking about.
Who's
I'm not even sure who's first. I know I don't have to get up till like quarter to 12, and they're going to give me a free breakfast. So I won't.
Just for...
Well, they charge you $35 to get in, so there's some refreshments.
For the speakers?
Yeah. No. I get in for free and free breakfast.
Good. Oh.
But I mean, everybody else, they charge $35, so they charge you some money.
Continental, or is that a full scrambled
No, the
egg,
best I can do is
browns?
like $5 off. I know.
I
think I can swing that. I'm pretty sure we have tickets. But
Right on.
I just hold a camera and they let me go wherever I want.
Right on.
I'll hold the Pelican cases with bongs and dabs that they will think is camera gear.
Yeah. We can put a bunch of Pot TV stickers on all your Pelicans. And no, that's not ethical. I'm just joking. You're Pot TV. Co-host the show. So, anyways, we're getting sidetracked. But that's going to be a lot of... there's a lot of great names on it. I wish I had the name in front of me. It should be on the... I'm going to write something about it for Cannabis Culture later tonight if I get around to it. Geez, I got a lot of stuff to put up tonight. But I am going to put that up, actually. That's going to be one of the first things I put up because it's happening on Sunday. And so you guys got to tell your friends about it. Get out there. Support these folks. This is really good stuff here. If you're downtown Vancouver, it's the place to be. $35 a ticket. Yeah. Or if you see Ted, he'll scalp you one for $5 off or something in the back alley. Yeah. Cool, Ted. Well, anything else that you wanted to mention? I know you kind of are involved in just about everything happening in the cannabis movement, so you're an endless fountain of information.
Thanks, and I'm a lucky guy. I've toned down a little bit on the amount of stuff I've done in Victoria, but with Gail's health improving, I decided to do a new event this summer. So 3 weeks from now, like 3 weeks tomorrow, we're going to be doing our first ever Team 420 dodgeball tournament. And we're going to do it in the back lawn of the courthouse. Carly's played.
Carly,
we've entered dodgeball tournaments.
How'd that go, Carly?
I was 100 pounds heavier at that time, so it was a little bit interesting.
We had fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Welts? Did you get big welts when the balls hit you?
The Ted always dodged the ball.
No,
Ted walks between the raindrops.
I didn't do as well in the tournament. But we went in these tournaments. They're serious about dodgeball in these tournaments. And we're just a bunch of
Gotta be serious
stoners
about
having
dodgeball.
fun, right? So we just get wiped out, but we didn't care. But yeah, we've entered into a couple of, like, they have these big city dodgeball tournaments. So we've had Team 420 go into that, and I've done weekly dodgeball games before just to have fun when I was working. And so,
I don't think I would.
yeah, well, it's not about
advise
winning; it's having fun.
Losing
But
the hat for the dodgeball.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of gives them a target. Put like a swimmer's cap, and then when the ball it'll just like bounce right off you.
But yeah, it's going to be too much fun. The Beard Brothers are coming. They're going to be setting up some tents. So we were joking about calling it dab ball. But, I think, when we get down to the final, we're going to, give everybody that plays a dab before they get out.
Yeah. Let Neil host the whole thing. Call it.
In my short shorts.
Yeah.
So,
The dab ball.
So we got a whole afternoon of doing dabs and playing dodgeball in the back of the courthouse, which should be a lot of fun. But my real big event this summer is September the 2nd. September the 2nd is the 20th anniversary of my work in Victoria with Hempology 101. And we're doing a march. We do every year from City Hall to the legislature. And it starts at 7 o'clock. And I want to give a whole bunch of prizes away at the ledge and smoke a whole bunch of pot and take a bunch of pictures and have a lot of fun. So.
Cool.
I think this is going to be like the first 20th anniversary of pretty much any cannabis organization in Canada.
Wow.
I could be wrong,
So what's the date
but
of
there's
that
not
one?
many that have been around that long.
What's the date?
Wednesday, September the 2nd.
September the 2nd.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of people in Victoria come out for that, for all sorts of reasons. It's
Ted,
a
this
big
is
anniversary.
to talk to you about what's happening in Victoria because we've been hearing about the Vancouver dispensaries and the regulations that are being put through here in the city. Now, Victoria is also batting stuff around, and there's political activity in that realm there as well, or there has been for a while, or maybe there's not. What you tell me what it is?
Well, there's 20 now. We got more per
20?
capita than you guys.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was so many now.
It snuck up on everybody, even each other, because we had maybe 4 or 5 last summer, and then all of a sudden, I think actually, and this is what I was saying, our court case had a lot to do with it. When we won at the Court of Appeal last year, that was a big green light for everybody to say, hey, the courts are protecting these clubs. These clubs are an important part of the community. They're saving lives. So what happened in Victoria was a whole bunch of people just quietly decided, I'll go start up a dispensary. And no, it slowed down. I think it hit a real wave. And now they're all kind of hurting because too many opened up at once. There aren't that many patients, and even though they've sort of broadened the mandate beyond ours, so that there's a lot of people that can join them that couldn't get in our group, Victoria's a lot different than Vancouver because people are usually pretty committed to their dealer already. Vancouver, it's pretty transient. You're always trying to find a good dealer, right? Where in Victoria, there's guys that are dealing out of the same house for 30, 40 years. And people make a career out of it. And it's so, people aren't flocking to the dispensaries because, they're pretty happy with the guy down the street already, and sort of thing. And so they're actually struggling a bit, most of them. And they didn't expect to be.
Anytime you look at any commerce between the two, it's going to be exponential here in terms of just how many people there are.
Yeah.
All that kind
and
of
just
stuff.
too many clubs at once, and so
oversaturation can happen easier in a city like Victoria than it can in Vancouver, where there just seems to be endless supply of people coming through here.
Yeah,
wanting give me more fucking weed.
But the one nice thing is, even though the regulations are close, they're not exactly the same. Or one of the nice things, we don't have a lot of clubs close to each other. So as opposed to here where the city is going to have to be like, you can have a license and you're going to go to jail. Yeah. There's not too much of that tension over in Victoria. There's a couple that might be too close to schools.
Do they have a perimeter 300 meters?
300 meter, yeah.
Same deal.
But again, most of them have given a respectful distance to the other clubs.
Yeah.
And so we're probably not looking at many clubs having to move or shut down because of a school or anything either.
Yeah.
And the one really nice point, they're not talking about the edibles issue, right?
It's not even
so we're going to be selling all the same stuff.
It's funny because
Well, we've always had no, I don't think they'll put it like period on. Oh, they're doing 25 here.
no, it's 18.
I didn't hear that. I thought it was
18,
adults. I haven't heard 25.
Yeah, it's not
To
25
age
is-
limit in
Neil,
joining the
25
club.
Is what no, hi Carly Marley. The 25 thing is what the doctors, the BC Federation of Doctors, was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think they were forcing that one on the clubs.
No,
No.
that's a different story. Yeah.
But the issue of edibles is a really important one, and the health region in Victoria or on the island isn't freaking out about doing this. I think in Vancouver it was sort of rushed because of the health authority, whereas in Victoria the rush is actually the city councillors. As soon as the city councillors there found out that Vancouver is doing it, they were like, we're going to do it too. And we've got a very radical city council right now. They're very supportive. So they're not going to lay down a bunch of silly rules. They're very supportive
The
of
regulations are better in many ways. Then.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So that should be the model.
no, they're
instead
waiting
of
until you guys
Vancouver.
break the ice. And I know,
Well,
but
so-
and it's
yeah,
it's
where
coming.
are they?
But at this point, they're it's hard to say when they'll go to public hearing, but they're preparing to go to public hearing. They have staff that are working on this, and there's been one dispensary in particular that was causing trouble with the neighbors and a couple things, which is why they were wanting to do this as soon as possible so that they could regulate them without the police having to
Handing
intervene.
lollipops out to the kiddies.
Like they were giving them a $250 a day a fine every day
For what?
for not having a business license
Oh,
because
jeez.
they were doing things that were annoying their neighbors and just they were in
What was annoying the neighbors?
smell. They were in a big building with strata council and like condos and other businesses, and they weren't controlling their smell very well at all. So they're stinking up the whole building and telling everybody they couldn't do anything about it.
Well,
And
that's, if you're being offensive to your neighbors.
So it was it just takes one bad egg to ruin the basket.
Gotta
And
try to smooth it over or something,
yeah. So they've been not looking very good. But luckily the city sees that we're not all the same, and this one person might be belligerent and rude, but others are cooperative and helpful. So we're on the cooperative and helpful side. And they've also. Pardon?
None of the other ones have business licenses?
Well, not real ones. They got licenses for selling paraphernalia or for doing consultation, right? So some of them are like, oh yeah, we got a business license, but they lied because they didn't say they were doing retail marijuana sales because that's not something you get a license for. So that's how a lot of them have pretended to have a license or gotten one without being fully disclosing what they were doing, right?
Yeah, here in the city of Vancouver, they tell you not to get a license.
Yeah.
Like Mega Il Pizza. They say, no, just keep doing what you're doing.
What we got told, what we did was just file the license and they'll just put it on the back shelf. So we've applied, so we can't get penalized. They don't say no, so we can't appeal. They don't say, so they don't say yes. So that's what we've done every year. We've just put in an application
Nice
for a
of
business
them to
license
go
and
out
just
on a little bit
put
of
it
a
on the
limb,
shelf, go back to work. Right?
Wow, they're helping
There's
you guys
ways
out.
around everything. So we've
I
been a
like
very
that, Lou.
cooperative,
Just let us say.
bylaw and council
no?
in Victoria
Didn't
for
say
years.
yes?
So, pardon?
We didn't say no, we didn't say yes.
Yeah. We're thinking about it. Pending. Yeah.
Perpetual pending. Yeah. No, that's good.
So we're really lucky in Victoria with our council and the way they're proceeding. And
Sadly, here it seems like the city council is just a rubber stamp for the city manager's office, who wants to put in all these weird requirements and wants to really shut down all of them except for 20 apparently.
Well,
the guy who came
yeah.
in here and was actually like checking this place out because it was a vapor lounge. We had a city official come in and look at this place. He said by the time the city's done, there's only going to be 20 dispensaries left. So 20 left standing, you know, but if that, yeah, we'll see. If they pay the 30 grand, which I think they will. Hey, if there's only 20 left, they'll be able to afford to pay the 30 grand with all the business they'll be getting, because the 90 plus that are open now, 100 plus, whatever it is, those patients are going to start going somewhere. And if there's only 20, guess what? It's going to be like a big funnel.
Can you just think of what it used to be like when there was 3?
Yeah. Well,
oh, it used to be crazy when we had 2 in
people
Victoria and
go-
you guys had 1 here.
people go back to the black market too.
I used to remember lineups. I used to remember getting up. I used to go to Green Cross when I was volunteering there, and people were lined up at the door in the morning, and not one. We're talking like a dozen people, and it was busy. And it was either the BCCS or it was the dispensary. There was only 3 in town. And then there was the Vancouver Forest site opened up, and then it started going from there.
Well, actually, the Herb School would have been the second dispensary in Vancouver, and we had lineups out the door and down the block every morning before we opened. We used a different model than the other compassion clubs did, for sure. Ours is that you would take our drug war history walking tour. We would educate you about the differences between use and abuse and all the different other things. And then we felt as an adult you should be able to access cannabis, and that was the model that David wanted to take to the Supreme Court. That's why we had that model going on. But yeah, we were 3.5 years, and at the time when we opened, there was just the BC Compassion Club Society. There had been decline.
Okay, I was going to say if you open the mandate up beyond that, though, you go even farther back to David's Harm Reduction Club in '96, and the decline. Do you guys remember the marijuana tea house that was over here on Pender for years?
Yeah.
That was awesome. Right after the MMAR came on, they pretended they had a tea house for people to smoke, and they were dealing out of the back as fast as they could. It was awesome. So yeah, there's been all sorts of different variations of.
Lineups go into demand. I mean,
Yeah.
same as the others, we had lineups all down the block.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah, well, people want their pot, and they're going to get it from somewhere. And I think a lot of people will go back to the black market if the dispensaries just, go under. There's nobody who's going to stop smoking weed because they can't get it at a dispensary. Let's just make sure that's clear to the city of Vancouver. Yeah. So they don't really give a fuck. They just don't want it mucking up their city because they have the business association screaming in their face, as they say.
Well, I think part of what's happened is this big swing in a pendulum. So we've gone from prohibition and this real extreme set of rules to another extreme set of rules on the other end. Like, it would be hard to imagine going from that extreme to them just completely relaxing and coming up with reasonable and accommodating rules for everybody. They're control freaks. That's why we have this law in the first place.
Yeah.
And so they want control.
Yep.
So at this point, as far as I'm concerned, it's like, okay, come up with some stupid control freak rules. We'll live with them for now. They'll change over time because they're just not practical, and the more cannabis that's being used and the more open it is, the more the world's going to accept it and change and grow. And in 5-10 years down from the road, everybody will be laughing at the rules that they implemented in the first place.
Right.
I think
Neil wants to
I got to
Well, I
just
know
say,
Neil's
I say
gonna
we do
disagree,
not accept willingly any outrageous and unreasonable regulations. They're going to put them in for sure because it is a step thing that's happening here, but we're not going to let them do it without us saying that's wrong. And we think they can put in reasonable regulations that do accommodate everybody's needs, except those LPs that want to monopolize the marketplace. And there's some other agenda going on with what our mayor's done here. They're taking away 6 of the revenue streams from these dispensaries. They're costing them a whole bunch of money in their security upgrades and having to move and the licensing fees and all of that. It's no longer going to be the viable, profitable business that it was at all. If there's 20 left, I'll be surprised. I think that there'll be a handful, and they'll be owned by Labatt's Breweries and London Drugs, and it'll be $20 a gram to high-end Vancouverites, and that'll be that for that. And the black market will thrive again, and there's some positives to that, as I know some friends of mine are going to get their customers back, and they're good people to deal with, but there's some downsides to that too, as there's going to be a lot of people going in questionable circles of people to get what they want to get. So I don't think we should accept it and just say, okay, give us some silly, crazy regulations and we'll live with it for a while, because sometimes you don't get those things turned around at all. And even though they have implemented them here, even though we spoke really accurately to them, we really were articulate, all of us, the 100 people that spoke to City Council and explained why the several deal breakers that are in there shouldn't be in there, and yet they all stayed in there. They did one little token thing of reducing the Compassion Club's fee down to $1,000 from $30,000, and they allowed caps as well as the oil to make your own edibles with. But I mean, that's crazy with the other things that they did. Yeah, really. So we still need to speak loudly against what they're doing and continue to do that until we do get reasonable regulations. I don't want to argue with you because I love you, man, but I'm just saying, I just don't want to just sit quietly and say, okay, well, we'll take that, and we'll just have 80% of our dispensaries closed down, which is what they're saying. That's 80 dispensaries. That's at least 10 employees per dispensary. That's 800 of our brothers and sisters that are going to be out of work because of those regulations. A whole bunch of people put their whole life savings into opening their dispensaries, and now they're going to have to walk away. So I think it's really wrong that our city public servants are harming people that don't need to be harmed. None of these dispensaries have harmed anybody in their neighborhoods in any significant way. I certainly agree that if they're stinking up their close neighbors, they should do something about that, and the city should do something about that, but it should be reasonable and measured. But the rest of them, they're all saving lives. Every one of them's got a membership base of hundreds, if not thousands of people, and there's testimonials in every one of those membership bases of how cannabis has so helped them and saved their lives. And I think any dispensary that saved a person's life shouldn't have to close down and fire their employees and go away, right? So I think it's wrong what's happening here. It's an attack and an assault. They're trying to say, yeah, but we're also saying fuck you to the federal government, and yeah, but let's also be reasonable in how we do that, and then they're not. So.
And if I can just return, I don't mean to argue either, Neil. I love who you are and what you do, and I don't mean to say that we want to roll over and play dead, but what I was just trying to give a sort of broader view of what they were doing and why. And while I fully expect and encourage every club that they try to shut down a fight, like I would if they tried to come after me,
right.
It's something that's I'm not certain how successful that's going to be, and it's going to be really ugly.
Yeah, and you framed it properly, actually, when you said that we're not going to go from this reefer madness prohibition that we've had to all of a sudden right away having reasonable regulations. It's not going to happen that way. It's going to be incremental. My only point was let's not just let them do that. They're going to do it, but we'll still scream about it all the way until they do change it to incrementally down the road. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I know.
Cool. Well. Awesome, guys.
Yeah, no, I am so encouraged at the proliferation of dispensaries, including in Victoria. Like, it was so lonely back in the days. Like I was saying before, we had 2 clubs in Victoria, 1 in Vancouver, and it was very isolating because even people that were fighting for recreational had this distance from medical. Yeah. And we weren't working together as a community as much as it seems we are now. And oh, you sure as hell do. And so now it's like, wherever I go, there's people that are standing up and speaking out and, putting, like you say, their lives into contributing to the betterment of society. And that's been...
Which one are we going to bust? Because you're just one of 20 now. You're not the only one on the radar.
Yeah. And I guess my point being is that's only going to make them look bad. It's not going to hurt our the big picture movement. Sure, people are going to get hurt, but that's only going to make the system look worse and make them fight even more for what's right. And none of us are going to give up. Same with the Allard case. Even if we lose that, it's not like people are going, oh, we lost the Allard decision, we're going to stop growing now.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's just never going to happen, right? We're going to keep fighting every step of the way, right? Yeah. Because we know that's right, and ultimately, whatever silly rules they come up with now, in 5-10 years, it's going to look ridiculous that we had these kinds of limits, and the exemptions that Health Canada released last week as well. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
So this is what I'm saying. Like the pendulum's swinging, and it's going to swing back again to the norm. But I see how people like Gregor Craigie and even our mayor, they want to try to appear like they're doing some middle ground and not just bending to our will to do whatever we want.
That's true as well. They're trying to find that balance because they have the business community, they have the federal government. They have
the happy Christians, they're dangerous.
The Pam McCalls.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, they're very organized community of people.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're crazy. They're very organized, all of them.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah. They take buses and vote for the fucking
this
Harper.
Pam McCall woman is like a one-woman crazy force of insanity that's closing down dispensaries. She's like, basically a law enforcement tornado.
Yeah.
She like whips up. Yeah, she could have gotten.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. That was her doing. Yeah, she was complaining. You have to stop these people from selling marijuana.
They just wanted to show her a press release. Say, we busted somebody for trafficking to youth. Look, Pam, we did our job.
That's where that wireless video was going, to Pam McCall's little station.
Straight to her iPhone. Yeah.
Shots. Yeah. No, well, Ted, thank you so much, man, for everything. Really appreciate it.
My great
Love
pleasure.
You, man.
My
always
great
the
pleasure.
Best. It's always excellent to have you on and everything.
Love all you guys, too.
Yeah, come back again soon. How are you coming back again soon? How often do you do the trip for the...
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
And
so I'll probably come and want to talk the night before the normal convention. So I'll see you September 18th.
September 18th. Put it in the, send me a press release.
Oh, my people talk to your
Send me a
people.
press release for the, Send me a press release for the dodgeball.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, because that's fun.
Right on,
Spread
buddy.
that around. It should get some attention. Are you going to get any video or anything there?
Oh, yeah, lots of
Oh,
pictures.
good. Awesome. Excellent. Thanks, Ted.
Awesome,
Appreciate
Ted.
it. I'm going to give this mic to Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Because just before Ted came, we were talking to...
Awesome, Ted.
yeah, thanks a lot, Ted. Appreciate it.
You wanna leave some of
Our
those
man Kiwi
behind?
here. And Kiwi,
What-
yeah, you got to make sure the cam can see you here. Snuggle on up. Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good.
Jason's sitting there.
Hello.
No, it's mine.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Frost Master Fresh.
What's going on?
I don't know. We're talking.
Oh, here you want?
Ta-
yeah, okay,
ta-
1 second.
Talking about stuff and things. Those are some good points, though. Those are some excellent
yeah.
points. We do have a really good platform to do things because we live in BC. We don't live in other provinces and so forth that aren't as, not necessarily lenient, but we
Right.
do have this cool atmosphere.
We're lucky we
We're-
get away with as much as we do here.
Well, we've got all these trailblazers that have actually done things to
Yeah.
to actually make it
Right,
possible
and the city
be
has
where
had
we're
to back
at.
down in certain ways. And because we know they can flare up, and if they really want to cause us trouble and grief, look what they do. And they can do it. And they can really fuck with us if they want to. Like, they could try and shut 420 down if they really wanted to. It's up to us now to really reach out to the city and make this whole thing work. And hopefully we don't... I don't want to go to war with them. I don't want to continue going to war with the city over this stuff.
Well,
I don't think it's beneficial for anybody.
What is the city's current stance on vapor lounges? I know that they had some sort of thingamajigger.
Well, Penny Ballum,
okay, so-
the city manager, has gone to the newspapers, or the newspapers have gone to her asking her comment. Mike Hager from the Globe and Mail and others. She says they want to close vapor lounges, or vapor lounges are illegal, or they, according to the new vapor bylaw that they passed when me and Neil were there at City Council, which was a bogus thing. They said they weren't going to use it against marijuana people. Yeah. But they said, yeah, and Penny says, according to that, it's ridiculous of them not to think the marijuana vapor is illegal. It's harmful. She said, science says that vapor is harmful to people. That's what she said.
So many people are being harmed here.
Yeah. But we have her saying, we actually have the quotes. I quoted her extensively saying, well, this will not be used against marijuana people. This will not be used against medical marijuana, so on and so forth.
Hi.
Karen.
Hi. I think Pamela McCall, she is being so backed by big pharma lobbyists. And the FDA and the corruption that has existed in the United States, a lot of those issues have been transferred to Canada, and she's on that. And she's getting the big media being attracted to her because she's so one-sided and so negative as what she says. She doesn't ever express the benefits of cannabis and how it helps people. So she really needs to get more of an education before she really starts blasting and doing all her planning. That's just so, I can't even think of the word, but...
She's a troublemaker. No, but she's very effective because our whole law enforcement system is based on complaints, evidently, at least against cannabis people. If you're a pot dealer or a pot person or a dispensary or any kind of cannabis organization, usually if you're going to get in trouble, it's because somebody doesn't like you and they're bitching about you to the cops.
Jeremiah, we were talking earlier about the criminal record checks and the police
Yes.
information checks. Okay?
Yes.
So if Pamela McCall calls the police on somebody, you're damn well going to know it because you can get it in the police information act. That
Right, and now that's part of the new dispensary rules, right? Carly was just saying before the show, to be part of the new dispensaries, the employees have to have not just a criminal record check, but they have to have a police history check. So it's like everything to do with you. So, yeah. They would find all my drunken public tickets. And
Do they actually have a warehouse that big for me?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. No, how much I don't know. How much is a fine for mooning again? I don't know.
I'm starting at the age of like 8 guys, probably 7.
Johnny he loves to moon the cops.
No, before that I was egging cop cars at age 7.
At 7 years old, you were egging cop cars.
Yeah,
That's pretty badass, buddy.
Yeah, 100%. Through Brad's.
You little bastard.
It's me and Chris. Brad. Yeah, sorry guys, I just ratted you out.
Oh, they're
but
gonna
we
get
were-
such a spanking when they get home.
We were chucking eggs, and I always went for the cop cars.
Well, that's good. At least it wasn't rocks you were throwing.
The chat does not like Pam.
No, Chad doesn't like Pam. Go figure. Pam is a...
Very disagreeable responses to
I'm
Pam
not afraid
McCall.
to say publicly that Pam McCall is a horrible person.
She's like the Donald Trump of anti-weed. She's so loud and uneducated and like super duper in your face, but it just blasts over your head.
Maybe
if
she'll
you-
get voted president of the United States.
She doesn't allow it. She doesn't believe it. It's down with her in some way, form, or another, and part of her life. She doesn't want to accept it, and then she's basically put up a block. I mean, there's enough evidence out there to.
How can you deny people their medicine?
How can you
and
deny
she's-
science?
It's
Like
insane.
she's
hurt.
That's the other thing.
I mean, it's not
It
like
helps people.
there. It's not like the evidence hasn't been. I mean, we have 2000, 1990. Oh, the years go on. We got 1988, 91, 93, 96. We see the years of the explosions, and now there's just so much information. It's on the news. Everything.
No matter...
How can somebody blatantly say, even like my brother, there's no medical value to cannabis? It's absurd.
Well, we know that it doesn't hurt anybody, and it's less harmful than every other medication out there. So the idea that even if it didn't work and it just was a psychosomatic effect and people were feeling better by it, there's thousands and thousands of people who use it as a medicine, and she fails to recognize that. Like, that's just... I don't know why the media actually gives her a platform, because she's a fucking kook. You know?
Farmer money. 100% farmer money.
They need someone to spread a word and make disbelief, and that's the whole thing. And this whole thing is about being diversion. And we're going back for years for them burning fields in the 70s to prohibition to everything. And the reason why this plant's been illegal for so long, pharma.
It's
money.
yeah, and
It's all about big money.
it's. I think it's a sensational thing. They like an argument, and they know that nobody's willing to argue against pot people because everybody else doesn't want to go against us because they know that their arguments don't make sense.
And we're not getting medical. We're getting legal, recreational, and that's the way they want to see it go. Because pharma can't profit, so if they're going to go on a recreational platform, at least things can still be covered under RX numbers or through health cares and all that stuff. I mean, the prices of things, when you look at some of these equipment and stuff like that.
Oh, it's crazy.
Only because companies pay for companies.
Kiwi, were you using cannabis in your recovery?
I most certainly was. When I started my recovery in the hospital, I was on IV morphine and so forth. That was just...
Did you get the button?
Yeah, I did. I was digging that button pretty hard, but whatever.
But it only had like 20 minutes. You got nothing,
Yeah,
right?
they monitor it. They don't want you to.
For those who don't know, Kiwi was bit by a shark while he was surfing. Yeah, no.
a giant monster shark with wheels.
Yeah, it
and
had
little
wheels.
headlights.
I heard it had a laser
Was it
too.
a Chevy or
Laser
a Ford?
shark. I don't know what hit me, but whatever I went through with my body, it could not drive away. So basically, I kind of walked away, but the car could not drive away. So
You got smoked
ding,
by a
ding.
car.
I did. I was crossing the road and
flew a far distance.
like almost 80 feet, like
Yeah,
flipped
right into
around.
the ocean where the shark bit.
Yeah, and then I had to battle off some laser octopuses, and it was
Yeah.
crazy. But no, I survived,
You
and
were beamed up with lasers.
yeah, there was definitely lasers involved. There's always lasers involved with me, always
that?
of a high milliwatt
Well,
percentage.
he gets fixed up on the
Well, you know what? We
Starship
missed you for a
Enterprise.
while. It's good to see you back.
Oh, it's
and
nice
you're
to be
out there,
back.
you know,
It's really nice to be back.
you're out there doing more than what I
It's
could
good
do.
times.
Back in effect.
Yeah, we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
We're doing things together. We've decided to
Exactly.
collaborate our
have.
giant minds, our hive mind of awesomeness, and see what happens.
And Kiwi is brewing up some deliciousness for us.
Well,
and I've already seen the previews of it, and good lord, it's just like next level shit.
Oh, well,
That's the only way
back
to
in the
describe
day,
it.
back in the day with the paper magazine, there used to be a section called Glassmasters, and so Glassmasters was basically a highlight, a showcase of the coolest glass around. I came to Canada in '96, started collecting glass in '97. And like that's pretty much where I've come from with my love and connoisseurness of glass. So I remember like fawning through the pages of old school Cannabis Culture magazines and reading
Marley.
about the likes of Surf Rat and Marble Slinger and Hippo and like these old school cats that now are still doing glass and have still come a long way. Redbeard and that whole crew. My first piece was a PJ spoon. With some millie. Hi, Kylie. With some cool millies on it. I was like, how did they get the image so small? I couldn't understand. And I was like, that that gripped me into the hook of wanting to collect glass forever. So yeah, my first piece was a PJ piece. PJ is one of the originators of West Coast glass. He, I believe, taught SIBO, and then SIBO taught like the Beard and a bunch of other people.
Wow.
So it's like deep history there.
See, this is the kind of shit, and that's just one little. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yep, just a little tip.
Yeah, and now because Kiwi, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try. Like, I don't want you to give away too much of what you're doing or whatever.
Word.
But this whole concept of heady,
Right.
you know, it goes beyond just weed related. You know, it's a
Absolutely. It's beyond anything that. Well, the term I first came across the term from like the pages of things like Cannabis Culture and hanging out with people like Redbeard and the old school glass crew, and I noticed that there was certain pipes that you could just get for a cheaper price, and then certain pipes that were like, whoa, how long did this take? Yeah. And through the vernacular and hanging out with these people, found out that these pipes were known as Headies or Heady pieces. So that to me sort of like put a shine on what a Heady thing is for glass, and started noticing other industries. There's like very nice cars, very nice watches, very nice things that are extremely well made and crafted and taking a lot of time and precision and detail and care.
Right. And it's more than just being about the price of it. It's about knowing something about the people who created it, knowing something about the history of the concept of what's happening there, what that piece actually is. It's actually an information. It's a knowledge.
It's a passionate drive to fully understand exactly every single componentry of that piece, so that you can explain it to someone else. And when you explain it, they're like, "Whoa, dude, you know like a lot about that thing." That's kind of the essence of what it is.
It's the nice way of saying snob in a way.
Yeah, well, or like intellectually like refined, whatever you want to say.
But it's because it's not
definitely
it's nobody. It's
100%.
connoisseur. It's not that anybody thinks they're better than anybody else or anything like that. It's just that this shit is off the fucking hook.
Right. I just have just because I've known so many people through the years of blowing glass and the industry and so forth. I've been like privy to some pretty cool innovations and like seeing where glass has come from like the late 90s to like now. I recommend anyone out there that hasn't seen this movie to check out a movie called Degenerate Art. It's by Marble Slinger and a bunch of crew. And it basically kind of documents some of the, I'd say, late 90s to mid 2000s glass and the culture and what it all means, and who Bob Snodgrass is, who's basically, if you right now are using a glass piece of whatever glass to smoke out of right now, it's probably because Bob Snodgrass back in the 60s was touring with the Grateful Dead, and he had like a little bus and he had a little torch and stuff, and he was basically making pipes specifically for Jerry Garcia and the Dead and stuff. So modern pipe making all stems from the mighty Bob Snodgrass, who is basically based in sort of the Seattle, Washington area, the West Coast. So the West Coast of North America is pretty much one of the meccas and birthplaces of glass culture.
What was he making specifically?
He was making spoons and stuff and things like that. The most interesting tidbit that most people know about Bob is he was one day like just making something, and he had a silver necklace, and it kind of fell into the torch as he was doing it. It accidentally fell into the torch, and created this like weird smoky effect on whatever he was making. Yeah. And he showed it to someone, and they'd never seen it before, and he was like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe I discovered something." And that's basically fuming. That's the technique of fuming with glass.
Cool.
So
smoky, like
exactly all that cool like fumy sort of wispy ghost whispery stuff. That is either gold or silver fumed into clear or colored glass.
That's very cool. Wow. See the endless source of info.
There's a lot. I like of all the industries that I've decided to take an interest in. Glass is very, very intricate, and has like even deeper history going back to like Viennese and Italian glass making and murine making. A lot of people know that I'm into millies and these little micro images that are actually basically large images of glass that they've placed into sort of a cane sort of formation, extruded, and so you basically pull it out into a big long rod, and then you chop it kind of like fumo, and you've got each images.
It's like Play-Doh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What
So
do you call that stuff? Fun Factory.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so they do that
Out
with
of comes
glass.
and-
And that's been done since, like, I don't know, I don't exactly know the rough date. I'm going to say anywhere between the 1400s to the 1500s. It's pretty freaking old.
It's an old school
And
technique.
that's just that particular
Well,
form.
glass
And then
itself is this crazy old concept that goes back so
Egyptian, I think. Like Egyptian era is when you're going to see the first sort of examples of vasery and glasses. And,
Made of
and stuff
sand.
Like that. Exactly. So, yeah, stuff like that, histories and so forth. I'm just hoping to provide a corner of the internet where people can check things out that are interesting and different and maybe learn a little something about stuff and things.
Cool,
So
man.
always a good
It's
thing.
going to be cool. It's going to be tonight. Tonight, you'll be able to find Kiwi's first installment, and we don't want to give too much away, but there'll be some pictures. There'll be some
Yeah, there'll be
info.
links and stuff. There'll be definitely things. You'll notice very awesome things of picture quality and like weird things. You'll be like, what is this? And
Some of the
that's-
stuff you've been sharing around on your Facebook page is just off the fucking hook. Like, I'm just so impressed with what people can actually design out of glass. These crazy complex structures.
it's really come a long way.
You know, we showed some of this on Pod TV when we were at the glass gathering. Obviously, there's just an incredible amount of amazing glass. But some of the functionality that's not marijuana related, like the glass grill that we saw, Carly and I, when we were showing it on Pod TV, and it had the gas going through it, burning, and they actually were cooking up their grill.
Can't remember if that's Gore or someone. I know exactly who it was. I just can't remember.
might have
It's slipped
been
my mind.
Gore.
Yeah, but
He was back
Alex.
there
yeah,
playing with it.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of cats working on it, and it was basically based on a Steve Bates design from I think the DFO, where his one, I think it's either his submission or he just decided to make a glass grill that you could pump propane through. So it's basically like a section of glass tubes with little holes, so that when you pump the propane through and light it, you get like little ignition, basically like a little glass grill. So then you can put sausages and stuff on it. It was pretty crazy. They had a good time doing
It
stuff.
was so perfect. Yeah, I was really impressed by that. They had 2 layers, so yeah.
Yeah,
First it was the
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that
It was
actually
well
ran
thought
the
out.
barbecue
It was actually
part,
well thought out.
and then it was the grill itself. Yeah, it made it a glass grill. But that's just a little chunk. Like some of the shit, man. I don't even know. I want to. If you're gonna feature it one time, I don't want to know if I. But that Evil Dead, oh baby.
Oh yeah. So my homie Gibson from
Gibson.
I think on Quadra. Yeah, Gibson is a very awesome and talented fellow
Good
in
friend
glass.
of Pod TV.
Exactly. Good friend to the entire community, and he took a course to basically be able to do what's known as bridge work, which is kind of like construction and stuff. So you're basically making very geometric sort of structured patterns, and you can build boxes and so forth. Yeah. So he basically built a chainsaw out of glass. And I like the movie Army of Darkness. Yeah. And the character Ash has basically a hand built chainsaw that he can put his entire hand into. Yeah. So I'm going to get an Army of Dankness hand chainsaw rig that I can actually put my entire hand into and grasp on the inside. And it'll be about, like a mini chainsaw length, ash length, with electroformed teeth, so that the teeth will be metal and look like pretty much a pretty gnarly, insane demon chainsaw that you can smoke extracts out of. It'll be pretty fun.
Man, I know that you had like the little model of it on the wall.
Yeah. Gibson had a really good time, actually. There was a bunch of our friends that took this course and learnt quite a lot from a little workshop that was hosted somewhere in BC.
Cool.
It was pretty cool.
Wow, yeah, I can't wait to see that. But I mean, there's just an endless amount of amazing
Just
glass.
so much. It keeps on going.
Yeah, what's that? I have a cool piece that I want to show off
Oh,
on the
yeah,
show, but
yeah,
I need to get a
yeah.
Pelican. It's at my house.
Your birthday piece.
Yeah, my birthday piece.
From
Commissioned
Quees.
by Carly, made by Quees Glass. Quees, it's so dope. It's a Star Trek bong. Star Trek piece.
Commander Tube.
Thanks.
Commander Tube.
You got to sing it cannabis related. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Too late for it now. It's not my birthday now. You guys missed it by 15, 16 days, 17 days.
So stonery. That was like
Yeah.
the most stoner happy birthday.
I don't wanna do
Half the
happy
room's over
birthday.
this way.
We don't need to do happy birthday.
Yay!
Nice.
That was crazy. That was
Whose
absolutely
birthday is it today?
the craziest happy
Yeah, I have a
birthday
Star
ever,
Trek
guys.
bong.
It was like so like it was
And
awesome.
The Star Trek bong is like red. It's like the red tunic of the modern next generation sort of era.
Yes,
And it
yes.
has the little yellow
Little,
star.
the
Yeah.
beam me upper.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
The
gonna
little
I'm gonna
A,
catch flack from the Trekkies because
Starfleet
I'm a Star
logo.
Wars head. I just call it the beam me upper. It's called a something. I know,
Yeah.
transcoder. Oh, watch the boards light up. I'm like, no, it's not a transcoder. It's a transducer. You're a dilithium crystal.
Communicator on the new series.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You
In
know,
the original series, though, they had the hand communicators, the flip phones.
that's true. The
Yeah.
flippity flip.
You know, I think I'm
Like-
pretty
like a-
sure
like a
that
Nokia.
Steve Jobs just ripped everything he ever did off of Star Trek.
Yeah, including wearing like a turtleneck style freaking.
Yeah.
Dude, he was living Star Trek.
didn't
He's
even
he
think
had
of
so much
that
money,
one.
he could just live Star Trek.
But he
I will
totally-
make my house grow
Siri,
robotic.
Siri is just
Totally.
straight off the computer. They also have the iPad, which is directly lifted from
Exactly.
it. And you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what? We've been watching me and Carly have been watching Star Trek Next Gen, and the laptops look exactly like iMacs. And this is before Apple was ever the little white. There's a white one. There's a
Wow.
black one.
Wow.
It looks exactly like
Where
Steve
do
was
you
just
think
like,
that's
I'm
all
gonna do that. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna wear that turtleneck.
Remember Running Man? You remember all these?
Man, Stephen King.
No, we're going back Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of them.
Well, that's Stephen
Yeah,
King.
yeah.
that-
Writing is Richard
and then,
Bachman.
and then we're going back to
I've read that short story. It's pretty different than the movie.
yeah.
what? Really?
Running Man, the book, the short story by Richard Bachman.
The ad for the iPad.
Oh yeah, Le Cars. Yeah, I
The
do.
aliens are gonna invade the Earth any day now. I mean, those have been all the movies straight for the last 5 years, so coming soon.
Whoa, I gotta pull back. Dr. Clone says, pull back.
Alien.
No, I've been leaning forward apparently.
No,
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
We're
sure
taking
about
off-screen
aliens.
Every time I lean
directions
forward,
from the chat here.
Yeah, I am farting. Just want to let you know.
Doodle-doo. All right.
I don't. Army of Darkness is dope. Army of Darkness is actually the third movie in the trilogy
that is
of
correct.
movies. Evil Dead 1, 2, and
That
then
is
Army
correct.
of
And then
Darkness.
there's a new one coming out, Ash versus Evil Dead, which
but
you guys.
Isn't that a TV show?
I don't know.
Is it a TV show or is it a movie?
I think it's a movie. It actually
Oh,
looks
I
more
thought
like
it
a
was a
movie.
TV show.
It's really hard to tell, but it looks like it's a movie. But either way, the trailer's ridiculous.
Yeah, the trailer is. You also had that on your Facebook wall.
I sure did.
It is insanely rad looking, but it's Ash. He's a little older.
He needs a corset to
Yeah.
trap in the old 40 belly.
Oh man, Bruce Campbell, hilarious actor.
Legend, absolute
Very
legend.
funny. The mic is too close. It's an issue on me or on who?
Probably on me, maybe. Probably on me. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Are we
My
talking?
mic is better.
I gotta call my parking.
We talking too loud?
I've been here for 2 hours. I gotta pay for my parking.
Do it, Johnny. Do it. How many minutes of the show left? Well,
What time is it?
it's 5 after. Sorry, 17 after 5. I was going to say 5 after 17.
Oh, and
It's
we
not
started
5
at like
17 yet,
4:10, right? 10 past 4 or something. Something like that.
I guess it would be past. So, Kiwi, I wanted to just say I think it's going to be pretty fucking dope. You're contributing not only the stuff for the Cannabis Culture website, but you're going to come on the show and talk to us about other stuff
Right,
on
yeah.
the reg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
'cause,
enlighten the public about what's going on out there and stuff.
Yeah.
See what people say. See what the feedback is. I think it'll be pretty cool.
You also, we should talk quickly about Cannabis Day because you were the DJ at Cannabis Day.
I was. I had fun.
You were there for the crazy shit.
Yes, I was. And
Yeah.
it was pretty intense in the morning, and we lost a couple of friends down there.
Yeah.
It was definitely staged to be a PR thing. They wanted to basically make a message. Doesn't really care who got in the crossfire. They just wanted to push their message across that they won't tolerate us just, having our right to assemble. And that's kind of weird because we kind of,
They're really getting in our faces a lot.
They are.
And Neil has the documents here. Neil,
Exhibit A, page 17 of the particulars given to me, states.
Exhibit A and the evidence against Neil Magnuson.
Yeah.
Shorts.
States here.
The shorts are too many millimeters high.
They write that it is reasonable to anticipate that some individuals will attend Cannabis Day with the intent of setting up a table booth to sell drugs and or paraphernalia. Crowds
This is in their backgrounder.
This is in their backgrounder. It says crowds would be larger than last year with an anticipated number of 500 to 1,000 people. They're missing a zero on both of those estimates.
That's more than last year, 500 to 1,000. That's funny.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not watching that closely.
Yeah. So that's completely false. We had like 10,000 people at last year's Cannabis Day, something like that during the course of the day. There was just thousands of people there. So anyway, Next, it goes on to say protesters will likely carry signs and openly smoke and deal drugs. The restricted footprint is likely to cause the crowd to spread into adjacent roadways and properties, resulting in traffic disruption. There will likely be an anti-police sentiment, but there is no intelligence to suggest there will be violence or mischief. The crowds are expected to be very vocal and explicit in the using and dealing drugs.
The using and
dealing drugs. A Vancouver police deployment for this event is not for the purposes of enforcing the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. This does not preclude members from enforcing the CDSA if extraordinary circumstances justify doing so. So that's what they say.
Yeah.
That's not what they did.
Right. And
they came prepared to bring violence to our peaceful protest the same way we've done it every year, except being forced to the other side. And,
right. And I wanted to say, though, that yesterday there was some debate over whether or not any police beforehand had said anything about youth and all of that stuff. No police ever said anything to you about youth, not once.
Not one word.
The word of youth was not mentioned to Neil, not selling to youngsters, no kids, no nothing. But in the police report, they have this jerk. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk myself.
This is all of the statements from all of the officers.
Well,
this is a huge, there's like 84 pages here. Had to sacrifice a tree for this. And these are all the statements of all the officers that came there. And they say, one officer, this is Sergeant Gao, badge number 1918, he makes this statement. I could not see money, but I did see Magnuson getting dried bud and handing it to people. The crowds changed with different people coming and going. I saw what I believed to be young people, I estimated 17 years of age or so, also doing these same hand-to-hand transactions. I believe these actions to be consistent with trafficking of a controlled substance.
17, Neil. What do you think?
17, he says.
Did you see 17-year-olds? You did mention 17-year-olds.
I think 17 is old enough to access cannabis. I think the Senate said that. I think at 17 you can join the Army. You can drive a car at 16. I don't think I saw anybody 17, but I saw some that were probably not too far older than that, a couple of years maybe. But, I didn't see anybody that was a kid. I wouldn't sell to a kid. I know what a kid is. I'm a parent. I've been around for a long time. It's a different demeanor than that person that comes to you that is in their mind an adult. So I didn't sell to any youth. They never said nothing about youth. That's the only reference in all of those pages of all of those testimonies to anything to do with youth. And that was news to me. If they had mentioned that to me, we would have had a long conversation then and there about A, what a youth is, and B, whether or not cannabis even harms youth at all. So,
yeah, well, exactly. I just can't believe that. I think it's weird because though they grabbed you and they said that you were selling and so on and so forth and that you were being, first they said you were obstructing justice, but they dropped that charge.
Yeah, that charge seems to have been dropped. It's for trafficking, and trafficking happens when one person hands cannabis to another. Mm-hmm. It's what we do at our rallies. It's what we've always done at our rallies. The trafficking on Cannabis Day this past July 1st started happening at around 6:30 in the morning, and it went on unabated right in front of the police right up until they decided that for some reason they were going to bring all that force in to arrest me, and based on their particulars on page 17, that would only happen if there was exceptional circumstances going on. So I'm not sure what their exceptional circumstances were. I suspect it was that I had already announced to them that I was an officer of the Marijuana Party of Canada and that we had every right to assemble there and that they should stand down and walk away, and if they interfered, they'd be in violation of that act. And I don't think they liked that very much, and I know that they really had it on for me after that.
We should have a new festival in the city called Traffic Fest.
Traffic Fest.
Traffic Fest.
Let's go traffic in cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we do at our rallies all day long.
I'm just trying to be provocative, I suppose. But it pisses me off in a way that we've been doing this peacefully for so long, and now all of a sudden they want to... I don't know if it's related to the dispensaries thing that's happening in the city, and the city feeling like, well, we're going to wrap all these marijuana people up with a big bow, and that'll be that.
Well, they're going to try to whip us into compliance. That's what I see happening here. That was their agenda that day, that they wanted to whip us into compliance.
They whipped one or two people into non-compliance, and then
it didn't work for them.
People around, everybody else just continued to sell weed all day long, and they just fucked off for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So
what is in
what
this
a joke,
document,
what a
riddled
scam.
all the way through it, in the testimony of the officers that have put their word in here, is that there was a large deployment, that it became very
What a
volatile,
waste.
that it was risky, that it was dangerous, that there could have been harm to both the officers and the protesters.
Says all that in
that
there?
stuff in almost all their testimonies. There's reference to that, and
But they're
all
not
of that was
criticizing the
only
government,
there
though, or they're not
because of them.
They're not criticizing their superiors for being there, are they?
Well, if you read between the lines, I mean, they brought that violence to this event, and it only was there because of the presence that they brought there and the way that they did what they did.
Right.
And so they're responsible for what happened there that day. It's a good thing that they didn't kill me. I'm happy with that, and I think they
Well,
must
I
be
would
too.
hope so.
But I mean,
Yeah,
I was
you're
almost choked out in that pile at one point, and you know, I don't know how many seconds after that when you stop being able to be conscious
You were
and
getting
breathe.
squeezed good.
You know, still having troubles with my ribs. They were not very nice to me in that pile there. I mean, they said they were there to keep the peace. They said that repeatedly.
I'm just glad you didn't whip out like your adamantium claws, you know, which I know you have.
I'm a peaceful person. I'm well trained, and I can
lot
hurt them if I
of-
want to, but I never would.
Neil was born in the northern Canadian woods, and
I'm a Canadian boy. I can defend myself, but I'm not going to do
Weapon
it
W.
against a peace officer gone rogue,
Yeah.
or even a whole gang of them. More disciplined than that. I'm not there to hurt anybody. None of us were. You know, we were there to peacefully have our protest against these outrageous laws. In this day and age, this is the kind of force they're going to bring on an activist and a protester at an event that they knew ahead of time was going to be about people dealing and consuming cannabis all day long.
wait till they send either you or me the bill for the whole thing. That's a
pulling
parking
over for a
ticket.
minute or two behind a cop car or something.
Good. That can make
Actually, I disputed the parking ticket for parking over 2 hours. I said because there was a protest on the roads, I couldn't move. I disputed that on the 15th. I got a letter on the mail on the 16th that I had lost and I had to pay $70.
Wow, just
Yeah.
like that, eh?
Just like that. I can't go any farther. It's $70. So $70 for parking for longer than 2 hours. And then the 121 for stopping in a no stopping zone because there was an officer on a bike in front of me. I learned that they actually get a little added extra money to their pension because of the assholes that they were on that day. So they don't get paid like overtime or anything like that, but they get a hazard pay added to their pension when they retire. It's something that a lot of people don't talk. So as in these peaceful officers that are out there serving to protect, ask them, are they being paid? Are they getting any or receiving any added extra bonuses for the duties that they are performing here today? And that's and I was told that by actually someone who had retired and was lieutenant and was very adamant about that. I learned a lot of stuff from this gentleman on Friday, but it was, I mean, on Monday, it's kind of cool. But
So it probably works out to double or triple time to work a Canada Day holiday.
$13,900 and some odd dollars a year added to your pension if they.
Some of these officers, their testimony is they were sitting at home, and they got a call to come on down, and put their uniform on.
There's a whole bunch of bonuses, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Afterwards,
they don't ever get paid for it. You'll never see it on paper, but you see it when they retire.
So it's just
and that's
deferred.
why all these government officials, they get so much. They're the top paying 10 jobs.
Yeah.
And politicians and government officials and stuff, because they get these huge pensions, and these pensions are because, well, they don't get bonuses like with WCB and stuff like that. They actually get paid for doing what they do when they retire, and that's why they get these huge pensions.
They also give them a gift certificate for lifetime buzz cuts.
And they get to keep a percentage of whatever drugs they seize.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And all the weapons and stuff. Big stash. Cash.
They took cash off of me.
With bullet holes through it.
They would have. Yeah, they took $260 cash from me. Well, I hope not. I mean, that'll be the victory, I think, when they give it back to me. The final page I got to on this thing here says what they're asking for is a suspended sentence and a fine. So we'll see how far we have to drag this through the courts to get justice. Yeah. So, but we won the battle over putting the tents up. That happened fairly early when Vanessa first put her tent up, and we explained, Marijuana Party of Canada, election year, and they walked away. An hour later, I talked to the main guy, the old Irish cop that was there, and I told him, people are going to be selling cannabis. That's what we do here.
Officer O'Malley?
I think it was O'Malley. And he said that
so.
they were going to be realistic about that they understood that. And then it wasn't long after that I started giving some cannabis out. And then, the rest is pretty much history. Although they did, after 10 or 15 minutes
Carly
of doing
got
that,
bounced on with you, too.
they called me over. I put I put it
front
away.
lines, too.
Yeah, well, hugs are good. You saw people hugging, It's like, cool, I'm getting in on this. Yeah.
He was giving him a piece of his mind,
I don't blame
too,
you.
'cause
They were a very
fucking with you,
hugging
too.
community.
They were pushing all of us afterwards, too. So they were trying to form this perimeter around the cops who were jumping on you guys.
They
did
had a
this
strategy.
wall system.
Yeah.
And anybody who came up, well, they were like, we're pushing away.
Give that girl a mic.
They didn't actually form that wall where they were linking up until they pulled me out of the pile and had me out of the way, because they wanted to make sure that when they had everyone locked in, that there wasn't a girl in that pile, and that it was only like older men, you know what I mean? Not,
They
not a
reference
young
in here
girl.
numerous times males arrested. 4 males were arrested.
And I knew they would do that. I feel like it's
And it was
sexist.
5.
I feel like it's sexist. I'm upset. Either let all of my friends go or arrest me too. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Every single person who was there should have been arrested.
Yeah, but Cardi, they already had such bad optics going on. I mean,
They just make sure that they bring me
Oh
off
man,
camera.
they hurt Ann. They hurt a whole bunch of people there that day. That was a really rotten thing what they did there.
Oh, I had bruises.
And it's rotten that they've undone all that good work that has happened between our community and the police in Vancouver over
Yep.
all these years too.
Absolutely. It's a
That's
real shame.
a real shame.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
It
right
does
now.
break my heart too.
I'm really sad that it's come to this, and I'm going to do everything I can to patch it all up and make this better.
You want to go with me and see if we can get a meeting with the VPD chief, but they'll probably just give us the PR guy
Do
again.
I want to go with you?
Yeah. I got balls, man.
As a casual observer,
Well, a guy with a camera?
I have a feeling I have my own meetings I have to go to with these guys, and that's not even necessarily related to that issue. I would be happy to go with you to other meetings, but I have some meetings to go to. I plan on going to a whole bunch of them, and
Your
No,
listener,
I've already-
your viewer might be interested in what happens there at those meetings too.
yeah, maybe who, Dr. Clone?
Whoever
come.
your viewer is.
He can come with us. Doc, you want?
So anyway, I guess we should wrap up for me about what's happening next. Is I'm back in court on the 29th. The other ones, the 3 obstructors, David and Bert and Cam, they're on Monday morning going to 211 Gore.
Yeah.
And they're going to go face those obstruction charges. And Carly, you can go there with them if you want and try to talk your way into getting before a judge
So
too.
You've already gone there twice.
Yeah, this is the second time. They had no particulars the first time.
Right.
And then, I walked into court and told them they had no jurisdiction over me, that I was an officer of the Marijuana Party of Canada, that they were in violation of the Elections Act and they should drop the charges. That judge said that he was only there to decide whether or not I had a lawyer and how much time I needed to get one. And I said, well, if you're insisting on proceeding, then, I need some time. So I was given 2 weeks. So on the 29th of July, I'm back at 222 Main Street. For another, we had a good smoke out in front of the courthouse the last time I was there and the time before that. And I'm sure we'll continue to do that just to put it in their face, because now we're back to thinking about what we can do to put it in their face and
Neil, you're talking a lot of putting it in their faces.
Well,
with those
Jesus,
shorts, you gotta
know,
be careful.
We thought we had a nice arrangement here. We could have our rallies. We would gather tens of thousands of people. We'd sell weed and smoke weed, and everybody'd clean up the mess afterwards. We'd go away, and they wouldn't bother us. And now we're back to they're going to put a whole bunch of our people out of work with these dispensary regulations. They're trying to shut down our Cannabis Day rally completely.
Only 20
we'll
left
see
of
what they
them.
try to do with 420.
Yeah.
I think they're at war with us. And so, no, I'm not happy about this. And now I feel like we should have some meetings and get back to activism and think about what kind of poster runs we should do and where we should hang some billboards off of some archways and
your decision
whatever else we do.
to infiltrate the mayor's office was controversial,
That too.
but I thought I don't really have any problem with it, and I think that you got to bring the stuff to City Hall and show them right in their face.
More of that.
Yeah.
We're going to be deciding
No,
what the right
I
thing to
think
do
that
is
stuff's
here. We don't want to
important.
piss the public off, but we want to further this agenda because they're wasting taxpayers' money here, and it really affects everybody in a very large way.
It doesn't make sense either to hurt patients just to for what? For what?
They're harming a lot of people.
There's no reason to harm everyone.
I don't know for what. I don't know for what. I think to
For a lot
protect
of money.
LPs. I think to protect LPs. They want to have a half dozen or 20 dispensaries that are all using LP, Stephen Harper's weed.
Maybe.
And I don't know what else, but it doesn't make sense to me.
I'm not convinced at all that there's anything to do with the federal government. I think this council has shown that they don't really give a fuck about the federal government.
But they must
They're
have another
willing to-
agenda to drive them to accept those regulations
Well,
after the
I'm sure they
public
feel
was
the
so
pressure.
articulate in talking about those areas
feel
that
pressure.
were not acceptable. And yet they still went ahead and did not amend them. They could have amended them in several different ways to make it reasonable. They would have had a happy public, and who would they have pissed off by
pisses me
doing
off.
that?
I don't know why Adrian Carr didn't make any amendments or propose any
I don't
amendments.
get it
but
either. Who are they trying to
That's
please?
one of the people that I want to go and have a meeting with and talk to her and say, hey, she always does say legalization of weed all the way out every time. She doesn't say weed, but she says, fully legalize the dank.
They were either not paying attention to the points that were being made over and over again during the public hearings, or they've got some other agenda going on that is requiring them to put in those regulations that they've decided to go with. Hey, Jason, good to see you, buddy.
Jason Wilcox in the house.
Good to see
Here,
you,
let me
man.
see this for a second. Jason Wilcox in the house.
Thank you.
Looking slick in the glasses. And he's got the camo medicinal shirt going on, my favorite one. Cool, yeah, this is I've already read almost all of it, but I will read all of the reports I haven't read. J-Dog, good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Some big news, actually, out of the Allard. Yeah, this guy's going to tell us all about it. Now, of course, people that follow this show know about what Allard is, for the most part. The court case that's been fought out here in the city of Vancouver by one of the number one boxers on our side, Mr. John Conroy and his team. These guys are awesome. But as part of the Allard case, which is a pretty large case, there's different elements to it. There's the injunction. The injunction is so that marijuana growers are allowed to continue to grow with their MMARs or keep their old school style grows. If you move, if you try and change your designated grower, if you do all these things under the injunction, that's not allowed in the current system. So Mr. Conroy and team of your crew were fighting to try and broaden the injunction or the rules of the injunction to allow for you guys to move, change shit up.
I just correct that as we're not really my crew, but the Cannabis Rights Coalition Collective put in 170 statements to try and address the injunction for a second time.
170 statements.
170 statements attached to my particular affidavit, and unfortunately,
It's a big crew.
Well, it's a coalition. We're the ones who also raised $260,000, got the injunction, and put the government on trial. We're happy to have people in now. Fundamentally fabulous, But at the end of the day, for the past since 2012, it's been the patients of Canada who funded this case, brought it up to now, and there's money owing. There's some hours owing. But at the end of the day, I hope we win for the rest of the way, because then the government pays all the bills for appeals.
Right.
Now, I want to talk about something that's important. I had a 45-minute conversation with Mr. Conroy yesterday, maybe the day before. Things have been blurry this week. Anyway, it's important. Arising from R versus Smith came to Section 56 injunction.
Yes.
Now, I got a question for you, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
If somebody gets arrested right now with a bunch of, say, a couple slabs of shatter, what happens to them?
Well, that's a good question. I guess with a couple slabs of shatter, depends on who wants to enforce it.
Let's just say a pound of shatter.
Well, it depends how the police want to enforce it, but they could it's illegal, so you'd be in a lot of trouble if they wanted to put you through the trouble.
Are you sure it's illegal?
Well, I'm not sure now. Under this new,
What do you mean?
under the new,
It's not illegal, but it is because you're over your gram limit, depending on if it's at your home or not. So I can carry 160 grams of shatter pretty much, or butter.
a big slab of shatter is more than your limit.
149.9 grams of shatter
Right.
in my hand. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, where I'm going with this
But
is
depending on how
the
large it is.
advice that the coalition is given, and you should get this out to your people, put it out on your blog.
Yeah.
Anybody that has an MMPR or MMAR license is to ignore the Section 56 Health Canada exemption. from Mr. John W. Conroy QC.
Ignore it.
Ignore it and follow R versus Smith, because it says you can have all forms of cannabis, and Section 56 is an exemption from the CDSA. Therefore, you cannot be charged under the CDSA. It's just one more fear-mongering tactic issued by Health Canada and the legislative arm to attack this culture.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Well, that's crazy.
It's a fear tactic. It's not legislation. First thing I said to John was, John, how can we challenge this? We're willing to put $10K down. Cannabis Rights Coalition will once again put money down and fight. What did John say? It's not legislation we can challenge because it's an exemption from the CDSA. So basically all that stuff that says you can't use butane, you can't use this, you can't transport this, all that we're told to ignore and follow R.V. Smith until such time as the federal government legislates. And we warn you once again, wherever the camera is, that should you legislate, just like you just gave an exemption, we will sue you and see you in court again, and you will be the defendant and on trial justifying these arbitrary restrictive limitations that restrict R.V. Smith and clearly does not follow the language of the Supreme Court of Canada, which is our Constitution. No legislation, policy, or exemption supersedes the Constitution of this country. I've been saying it for 2 years. I'm ranting it now. Ignore that S56 at the order of John W. Conroy, QC. Boom!
There you go.
Boom.
So,
That was on, I just watched
and
Training Day, and the guy goes, boom.
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 John says that this latest decision in Allard can likely be appealed, but he's holding off. He says it's probably best to wait to the final decision before anything happens, right?
We don't, again, the one thing, and now I spoke in detail with John about this, it's important for people to understand that just because they didn't expand or vary the injunction, we tried to vary the injunction once already, and the courts clearly do not, the federal judges do not want to stomp on each other's toes. Justice Manson, even in the hearing, you heard Justice Phelan say,
he already did it perfect. Why do we have to change it?
That's right.
Defending it to the death or something, you know.
Well, he did not want to step on his counterparts. So it's sort of like how we all work together. We don't want to step on each other, and that's kind of what this comes down to.
Even though John was able to show all these actual real problems with it, I wonder if, in a way, it could be a positive thing because maybe Phelan is coming up with something cool in the end. He's like, not even going to deal with this part of it because what he's going to do later might supersede that or have, that's just wishful thinking maybe. I don't know. But I don't know what did John, when you were talking to him, the tone of Phelan's response, did John have anything to say about how he felt about that?
The thing is that what we were asking is what the first thing in the very original injunction, you were there, what did they say? We will not force a memorandum on Health Canada. We will not make them open up the MMAR. Right. And ironically, under the Section 56 exemption, they brought back Section 34 of the MMAR, the way it read before it was repealed. Read the language in Section 56. Anyway, we're to ignore it anyway, but I'm jacked up about that.
All the stuff about the database, computer, that holds the information, and their original arguments are a lot of the reason they said they can't really go back into any MMAR stuff is because, all that information that was collected is all logged away, and it's all the databases. But they actually have people working on this stuff using that database still. John was able to show that they've actually been maintaining this thing. It could be used for the purposes of actually, you don't want a crowd of cops busting down somebody's door because they're still able to grow under the injunction, under their own thing. So there's got to be somebody monitoring this stuff. And John said it could be easy as just adding a field to add a little bit of information.
Right, but and that was our argument, and that's what we presented. I think that what it is, in my own opinion, and my voice is shot from that dab, but in my own opinion, I honestly believe that there was the issue of it would force a memorandum, it would force the MMPR to open up a department that allowed us to change our address. Or, and you're right. That 24-hour system that right now is a pager that goes to a Health Canada worker to answer officers that phone to verify. Now, once again, this Section 56 exemption, this gets very convoluted. I hate it when the government uses fear tactics on patients. Because all these people who went closed-loop systems, they've been doing all this investing, extraction crews, they all got worried, like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail, I face Bill C-10. And I thought the same thing. Right. Until I realized we were told by our attorneys to not follow this exemption until they legislate so we can put them on trial again.
Right. Yep. Well, and it's just this constant back and forth. And it seems like, you saw the government's response to Smith and in coming back with this, extracts little, the bone that they tried to throw that they always do, this conservative government that's just hates medical marijuana, doesn't believe it's a medicine says outright in their press releases, this is the body that's charged with running the whole program. They say it's not even medicine.
On that point, now this is important, Jay. We all, as a culture, need to look at this because you look at what they're built. Now, Rona comes out and says what I've been saying for 2 years, there's no medical value to marijuana in Canada. Now, they built up a monopoly under the premise of medical marijuana, the medical marijuana access regulations,
It's got the word medical right in it.
Medical Access Division of Health Canada, and then now the marijuana for medical purposes. And then Ron Ambrose goes, but it's not medical. Then why'd you set up a multi-million-dollar monopoly under the premise?
Under the guise of medicine.
Right. Well, really, it's set up like Mr. Conroy said when I had him in my studio. It's set up for legalization.
It's mind-bendingly
It's
crazy.
Molson Cannabis and Labas
Like,
Cannabis, as Neil said. It's very well.
It's double
well put.
think. It really is straight out of 1984 styles. It's like they do the exact opposite of what they say. They just say the opposite, and then they do whatever they want. It's just bizarre.
Well, this is, as you know, this has been going on since 2000 with Parker. Since 2000, now then 2001, they instituted the MMAR. It's been challenge after challenge. Now it looks like they're going to continue. I think as Joe Average, like in Allard, we got a Freedom of Information Act. It was $1 million plus to fight us already. That's without appeals. So what's it going to continue to cost Joe Average to continue to fight the medical patients of Canada? And as we all talked about, they shut down our dispensaries, and believe me, they're coming for our dispensaries. Yeah. There's some that are going to be in the scoop and some that are going to be out of the loop. That's just the reality.
The inspector guy said 20 will be left in the city of Vancouver.
We showed in our exclusion map they'll be knocked out, and I believe that some of those people, you can just see who they are already just by panels that are being shared, which demonstrate very much so the future of the.
I've seen some of the people that are
monopoly.
going to try and go to some of the panels. It's like the Compassion Club and Dana and others that are having meetings, but they don't actually have a location that's within the zone.
Yeah, but
so
they're hold on, they're filing to the Board of Variance.
Yeah.
You see, they got their little loophole, Board of Variance.
Gary Jang says, I have
every
no power over
every
that.
club owner out there, file to the Board of Variance now. Flood that board so it's an equal decision.
Everybody should, and if you're not causing harm, then they should have to have some. Like they can't just kick you out of all of your business, everything you've done, all your investments, all of this stuff, without an actual scientific reason to do it.
I would also argue that the BC economy, and we talked a lot about the dispensaries, well, what about all the people that make the extracts, all the people that make the edibles, all the people, the trimmer crews that puts food on the family's plate, and it's a farmer's industry, and it's a small cottage industry that's grown into be a BC bud, BC brand name.
It's not just hurting the patients, it's hurting this whole entire industry and all the people that are employed, their families, everything that goes with that. It's an economy that they're forcing to go back onto the black market, where it becomes spread around and it becomes in the hands of organized crime or other places. And we're seeing more, crazy shit happen in Vancouver, where the gangs are getting out of control, shooting city workers and things like that, who are probably gangsters too. Yeah, didn't you see this? In the city of Vancouver, there was a sanitation guy who was shot, and he was given threats beforehand and stuff, and he was shot. But it's gangsta shit, because it's like these guys, down at the docks and all this stuff. These people, I don't know if you saw, Kim Bolan, who always writes the crime stories. She's not always the best writer, but she wrote this expose of there's like 6 full patch Hells Angels members down that work at the docks and work in sanitation and all these different departments of the city, and the unions are like, yeah, they're all part of it. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
One place.
What I think that another thing.
Everybody hires friends, right?
Yeah.
I
I think they ought to look into that a little further, and because I'll read the investigation, but there's gangster shit going on everywhere, and obviously people getting shot, and city workers being threatened, and them shutting down City Hall like lockdown style.
Harming people or anything like that.
It's like Batman.
Another thing that we have to remind people, we also have to remind people that I heard earlier that you guys were saying, yeah, we're going to a protest. We're not. We're going to a Section 2 peaceful assembly. If we say we're going to a protest, we become the protesters that Bill C-51 could be applicable to. I say we learn to exercise our Section 2 charter right to peacefully assemble and use that language and not say you're protesting. We could wear many hats. No, again, it's a peaceful sit-in under Section 2 of the Charter. You have the right to assemble. It's a democratic assembly. That's what we popped our tent up. As you know, again, we talked about tents. Now, Budzilla and the coalition that morning popped our tents up, popped our tables up, and I started doing dabs immediately after the officer said you couldn't medicate in public. because they said they weren't going to have that with any tents or anything up. So we popped the tents. That's what we did. I remember after we had many engagements, Jeremiah, as you know, with the police, dialogue, trying to get them to back off, and
They were there early.
finally, well, it took us till that happened after all the tents up. But the first engagements it took us till 11 o'clock to get the first tents up.
Yeah,
That's
dude, we
the
were
sad
waiting.
part. That's
yeah,
the
we
sad
waited
part.
around a long time.
Well, a
Because
lot
we
of people got diverted by that police line and
Well,
the fact the traffic was you
there
couldn't
was,
stop.
like, all the vendors were scared away by this massive line of cops surrounding the place,
And their
then
camera.
patrolling 3 cops at a time around the whole perimeter in like groups, several groups.
And they were young cops. Did you know how young these guys were? They're all like gang and young cops. They weren't the old guys that usually patrol. Look at the footage. We were looking at this from 420. Look at the footage at 420.
No,
yeah,
they were
they're
wearing
not.
vests that said Special Events Unit or something like that.
Special sense when
Yeah,
were we?
special
And then they
something.
took that fence down the very next day, bro. That really burned me the most.
That is crazy that the city put
took
that
the
fence
the
up just to
fence.
block us. I know you did, but I mean that's what I mean. It's like they're using city resources for political retribution against
And
protesters.
provocation. They provoked, and they're
That ain't
lucky
good,
that
that
it
ain't
was
good.
just a few people arrested. I'm really thankful that there wasn't more people. I said this to Mr. Conroy when Neil and I went and covered Neil at City Hall there and covered Bird's story there. But it's important too that Mr. Conroy was making a good point when I said people were sprayed at a Section 2 event. I'm not here about selling drugs. I'm here to say people were assembling peacefully under Section 2 and they got maced. Conroy said we have to review the footage. So anybody who has footage, please provide the
we have a
footage.
massive pile of it.
Because there is stuff police can and can't do. But like Mr. Conroy said, we have to see how people were grabbed, why they were maced, and whether the police truly felt they were under threat when they decided to deploy mace.
Yeah, they. No, not really though. So the footage that we have that Courtney shot that's up close, it shows Bert standing over top of another guy. I think it's like one of the Budzilla guys, and he was all pepper sprayed, and he's trying to help him, and he's like pleading
was
with the
Jay.
cops. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and he was pleading with the cops to like stop, and they grabbed him from behind. And as they were doing that, just before they grabbed him, another one of the Budzilla guys ran up to like try and help, and that's when they brought out the pepper spray, and he was running up to help. It was evident that he was coming to help the 2 guys, and the cops broke out the pepper spray to spray him. So they shouldn't have been threatened by that. It's bullshit. I don't buy it.
Well, like I told him when I came up there, I said, you're provoking with your camera, go back to the perimeter. Every year when they walk through, if they come in, they come in peacefully. Well, they walked away because they knew we were right. You know what? It's funny. The one sergeant, I'm not going to say who, but one of the sergeants we were talking to, he said, you're here today under a Section 2 assembly. Just know what to
told
say.
us straight
Because
out.
of the Bill C-51 protesters. Or sorry, Bill C-51 protesters, and that's really why all these cops were out that day. They didn't want the 2 merging. So he just said, when they come and they try to tell you to put your tent down, this is what you say.
Oh, because they had the Bill C-50, the 51.
See a Bill 51 rally on the same
And
day.
So
It doesn't matter. Militarization against a peaceful culture and offense is wrong, period.
Well, and they were protecting that parade that happens around there too. But really, I think what the big thing was is that they were expecting like some sort of that we were going to be some riotous crowd. It seems like they were obviously stacked up in like anticipation that we were going to get hostile or something. But they were actually being provocatory early in the morning instead of like.
I was going to say they were being provocateurs all morning, and that led up. I'm just like I said. I'm glad it didn't get worse because it is a peaceful culture, and there's only hug power. People didn't get aggressive, but if that was any other group, that would have been a full-blown riot.
We were verbally aggressive towards them because they fuck them, and when after they
Rightfully so, though. I mean, all of us were mad. Like I said, get back to the fucking perimeter. You don't belong. You're provoking this. And sure enough, no sooner than I get on a friggin' helicopter to go to Victoria, I get texts that people are getting maced, and my daughter's in the tent.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, holy shit. You know, like honestly, to me, this is like real shit. I never thought in all these years that we've been doing this that I'd see the day our culture would come under photo recognition software, mace, gang squad police, or these young squad police. They want to wear an event badge, whatever. They're young, new cops that are trained not to have emotion.
They're militarizing the police. It's the same thing that's happening in the United States. And, you know, we already have, like, it's kind of scary in this country where we have this RCMP that's this sort of monolithic force in the country.
You know who can really speak to this particular issue is Dan Dix, who just happens to be here, who's going out for dinner with me from
Dan
Press.
was there at the whole thing,
Hey,
recorded
Dan,
a lot of good video.
you want to come on the show
You
here?
should come on here and talk about what happened.
So we got
on
another
campus.
mic, no? I'm gonna.
Here, we have this one.
No, I'm gonna hand this off to you. Go ahead, and I'm gonna give Dan over the mic because you guys have all heard my stuff. And check out Cannabis in Canada. Where is it?
Yeah.
Check out cannabisincanada.ca.
Yeah.
Follow the Cannabis Rights Coalition at cannabisrightscoalition.ca.
That's right.
Stay informed. There's a monopoly in this country. It's a fight for supply and distribution. Jason Wilcox
Peace,
signing
brother,
out.
man.
Thanks again, bro.
Yeah, peace, man. Give me one of these. Love you, brother.
All right.
Thanks so
Johnny,
much. Sorry,
as
I'm
always-
falling asleep on you here. I haven't actually got any shut-eye last night. I was up all night working on our new website, cannabisculture.com. Check that shit out. And actually, cannabisculture.com is kind of like in a beta zone right now. So if you're finding things that are wrong with it, please send them to me. I've got a long list already, so we know about a lot of them. But please send them my way. Dan, what's up, man?
What's going on? How
What's
are you doing?
happening? Good to
man.
see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you.
I think, well, I don't know if it was the last time I saw you, but one of the last times I saw you was at Cannabis Day.
Mm-hmm.
You were walking around with your cam doing stuff,
Yeah.
watching the craziness go down. And you were remarkably calm. I watched all your footage. You were like, it was like, things were getting a little crazy around there.
Yeah.
And first, I mean, it was the cops who were getting crazy, but our people were getting a little, I would say, verbally abusive in certain ways because they were pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
But what were your thoughts on, I mean, have you been to a lot of rallies where you've seen cops act like this before?
Yeah, I've been to a lot of rallies and situations, but I've never seen them act quite like that, where it was almost like there was fistfights almost about to break out. I've never seen a tussle quite like that ever go on in any of all the G7, the G20 protests and all the crazy stuff I've been covering. I've never seen it get quite like that, where they're almost throwing fists at each
They were
other.
angry, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And they were really being, like, had my own camera, and I came up to the perimeter of them that had formed around the people who were doing the hug power thing. And they were being very pushy and pushing away. And they had their badges covered with their things. And I asked them I was like, what's your, I wanted to know because he kept pushing me. And he wouldn't show me what his badge was.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's no surprise. Yeah, that's a common tactic now, is covering up the name, covering up the badge number.
Wear a name, yeah, it's just like 4 numbers or something.
Yeah.
Officer 1615.
Yeah. And then I saw you a couple days later at the courthouse.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In our protest.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil went. Well, first of all, Bert decided to blaze up his award that he had won for heroic valor at the riots that happened here in the city of Vancouver when Bert held off like a crowd of people from flipping over a truck.
Yeah.
And there's like that epic shot of Bert like knocking 10 guys out in one punch or whatever it is. But that's what it looks like. But it's But Bert decided as a form of protest, it's a peaceful form of protest. He was going to destroy what the city had given to him because he didn't think it was meant much. And it was like, worthless at that point after the city uses violence against us and doesn't apologize for it, doesn't say anything,
And he's a guy who used to look up to the VPD and admire the police department here and kind of respected what they do and stuff. And that's why it hurt him to have to give it back. But he's like, you know what, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And a lot of us actually did look up to the VPD and still do in a lot of ways. We do have one of the most relaxed cities when it comes to the enforcement of marijuana laws, not just in the country, but on the damn planet in a lot of ways. We have been... Yeah, anywhere. Well, with those cannabis farmers markets, until they started knocking heads this time around, we were doing pretty good. But, I still haven't lost all my respect for the cops. I know that the cops have to do what they're told. And so it's not the guys on the ground who really... and once you get in that state, the adrenaline's pumping. You got this crowd of people around you who you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're trained to be like... go into the, it's like a military training with these guys.
Yeah, for sure.
They have response that they have to cat-like reflexes and all that stuff.
Yeah, but like you said, they're not the ultimate, problem or the ones to blame here. That's what I like. What John Conroy was saying at the court. He had a good analogy. He was saying they're almost like the prison guard, where it's expected that the people are going to take it out on the guards. Meanwhile,
the camera has fallen a little bit here just now. Here, look at that. Uh-oh. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you. And maybe there's a little on the right-hand side of it.
Tighten that
There's
up.
a little tightening knob. Yeah, on the right-hand side. That's a funny thing. Headless potheads, Jody said. Yeah, now we're back. Look at our beautiful heads. Beautiful.
Yeah.
The heads of heads. Yep. But yeah, I mean, like, wow. It was a little bit extreme in a lot of ways, I think. It was overkill for what was actually necessary in that sense. I think they were really anticipating the whole hug power thing, and beforehand they, really had it set up that they thought we would be hugging, so they knew to grab Neil with 10 guys before anybody could hug him. And then they put that wall around them. So these are like, tactics that they've probably planned for. They've been listening to us. They've been hearing our hug power. Jody and I had a meeting with city officials, and we even, I think, brought hug power up then, or it was probably discussed, so it's no secret. No, we never we never hide hug power. We never hide power. And David shouts it from the stage at all of our rallies, and we talk about it openly. That's the whole point of it.
And their whole clampdown really just backfired on them, really, because it shed really a lot of light on them. It created a PR problem for them, really, because we were able to expose them and say, look at these guys cracking down on peaceful, a peaceful assembly, really, people's right to peacefully assemble. And the footage speaks for itself,
For sure.
Those guys.
Well, and it does. And I mean, anytime you see the cops really like enforcing violent sort of methods against citizens, it doesn't look good. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what kind of protests are there, what they're doing, you see these thuggish cops behaving like in a crazy, violent way. It's like people are like, oh. But I mean, I think in this particular case, there were a lot of people out there who weren't supportive of the pot community on this one, and even people from in the pot community, or maybe people who used to be in the pot community, were sort of critical in certain ways and said, it shouldn't have been selling, and you should just, not sell at the rallies. But this is something that we've been doing for a long time. Part of the reason that we have all these dispensaries in the city of Vancouver is because we've been willing to openly sell pot at our rallies and in other places against the law. So the city is hilarious on one hand, sanctioning the illegal sales of marijuana by, putting these actual bylaws in to allow for it, and then on the other hand, violently arresting people who are doing the exact same thing, and instead of just, why wouldn't they use a non-violent method? I don't get it.
Yeah,
is that what they're going to do to the dispensary owners who don't move, who are too close?
Yeah, total hypocrisy. That just goes to show they kind of clamp down at will when they choose to, and why they chose to do it to a peaceful crowd. I don't know. Maybe it's like what Jason suggested, that this is all becoming a part of C51. This is the new police state Canada. This is the new way of operating around here. It seems
it's weird that it's happening in Vancouver, where we've had this sort of lax attitude from law enforcement about marijuana. In fact, even like releasing at Olympic time press releases that say they won't be enforcing marijuana laws, they will be enforcing alcohol laws. So smoke them, but it's kind of a weird thing that I'm not sure what happened, but they've definitely. I think that part of it is that the city manager's office is getting into the marijuana issue, and they've been doing their research because this whole dispensary thing, and now they're seen as this like pioneering city council and pioneering city manager's office who are moving forward with in the face of the federal government and all this pressure and doing what's right for the citizens of Vancouver. But really, it's actually hurting a lot of patients. So, but yeah, so you've been shooting a lot of, you shoot all kinds of stuff with Press for Truth. The pot movement is different in many ways from some of the other like progressive movements, the Occupy movement. What are your thoughts on how effective pot activists have been? I kind of think that the pot activists are some of the most effective activists out there.
Yeah, absolutely, because what drives them is liberty and wanting freedom. The freedom to be able to put what you want in your own body is one of the fundamental freedoms that most people kind of push for, who want freedoms and liberties. So that's why, they gel with me. That's why I love the entire crowd, because we're fighting for the same things.
Yeah. It seems like with the pot movement specifically, a lot of different people get together over one cause. I guess that's why. It's a little easier to rally over one thing like the legalization of marijuana than maybe it is over a more sort of, globulous ideas like progressive politics or the Occupy movement, where it doesn't really have the stated goals that are as narrow in a way, I guess. But I think that people are really good at working together and putting aside a lot of the differences that they have about the specifics of other things, and come together as this whole of these people who have this, interest all together. And I don't know, I think that makes us strong in a hell of a lot of ways. And and I just think we've been effective. Like when you look at what's happened in the United States, and here, Vancouver's a great example, other places, we're making gains. There's setbacks, but overall I think this movement is moving forward at a pretty rapid momentum.
Oh, absolutely. We've been saying for a while, marijuana is the gateway to liberty, and you can see it coming down the road here in Canada. I mean, we know everything's leading towards legalization, so it's a question of how that's all going to come about, but we can see it happening. Everybody can see this happening. So it's about being a little bit two steps ahead of the game, and reporting on these things now, getting this information out there now, networking with all the like-minded people, and this movement is, it's growing big time. I think in a year from now, maybe not even, this is all going to be totally mainstream talk amongst Canadians, in the mainstream news, mainstream everything. It's going to be, everybody will be talking about it.
Well, and we've seen, I think, in the last year or two, massive proliferation of articles and stories and all this stuff about cannabis, and media explosion. Essentially, it's a very popular topic for them. Maybe they've figured out that it's a sensational thing and they can make a lot of cash from reporting on it if people are interested in it.
Well, who doesn't smoke weed? Or at least if they don't have a problem with it. I mean, most people who I know who don't smoke, they at least don't care about people who do. Anybody who I know who doesn't smoke, they don't have issues with people who do. I mean, who does? I don't know anybody really who has any problems with it. So the people are speaking. The people have spoken. That's why this is happening, because it's what the people want. Yeah, well,
I walked into the cops. I walked into the officer. I went into local police station, and I reeked like weed. And I really didn't care, and they were very, very rude to me. They didn't like the smell of it, and I asked them why. Is there a problem? She goes, well, the smell. I says, well, it's my cologne.
Most people who have a problem with it, it's a difference in their clothes. They're usually wearing a uniform of some sort. And those are the ones.
You think they would be trained with a little bit more sensitivity to people who are using this as a medicine? Since we have a federal program that's been around for a few years now, people are allowed to use marijuana. It's so bizarre. It's strange to me how everlasting these stigmas are that seem to be so heavily ingrained in people. Do you think it's why? Why is marijuana seemingly treated so differently than other things like pharmaceutical drugs? Is it because of like Cheech and Chong movies? Like, what is it that why in the public eye is it the propaganda's just been super effective?
Yeah, I think it's deep-seated propaganda from decades ago that was deeply ingrained into our parents' generation's mind. So it's hard to undo something that's been so conditioned so deep into their minds. But that generation is starting to come around. And that's what's changing everything. I mean, my parents understand now that it's not dangerous. That took a while, though, to break through that conditioning, because it's coming from a place that's hardcore about brainwashing and conditioning people. This is all coming from the government. They want you to think that this is poisonous and bad and dangerous. So,
do you think that you're a guy who is into independent media? Making your own media and really sort of challenging this agenda that's been put out there by the mainstream media and everything. Do you think that the internet, are we actually, I know we're obviously moving forward. We've had huge gains in the democratization of information itself. But there seems to be a lot of subverting us at all points. It's like they're always co-opting our movements and using them against us and all this kind of stuff. And, I mean, the internet itself was invented by these guys and stuff. Do you think where do you think we're going next? Are we going to be able to use what we have, this internet, to make more gains? Or do you think that, this surveillance and all the other things that they use the internet for is working more against us than for us?
No doubt it's changing, but I think we're reaching possibly a fork in the road where we may come to that point now where the internet is going to change to a point where it's not going to be the same as we know it now. Just the free flow of information right now, the ability for activists to be able to network, communicate, to be able to learn and get information from anywhere is incredible. So, being in, so exactly, there is such a thing as a kill switch, an internet too.
Just that they watch everything that everybody's doing, and there's all of that kind of edge to it too, right?
I've gone back to 1960 style stereo equipment and stuff.
Nah, but I still feel like, despite the surveillance uses and all of the other threats, and how I think we have to fight for those things to disappear, and also to keep our sort of whatever net neutrality and all that kind of stuff. I'm not so sure about how that factors into everything, but it seems like if we don't, then they're going to make more gains and use our own medias against us. In the past, I just fear it because every form of media has been used in a way of mass media has been used to sort of make gains on their side, to subvert democracy, to install what I think is kind of like a form of fascism, a global style, and so I'm hoping that our new mass media is going to be a change. I'm not so convinced it is or not yet.
Well, the technology side is a double-edged sword, and when it comes to the new media, I mean, it was only 5-10 years ago, to be able to broadcast, to do what we're doing right now, would take millions of dollars of news vans and satellite dishes and these sorts of things. Nowadays, we can do this with our cell phones, with the devices we have in our pocket.
Everybody is a broadcasting studio. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the face of media is absolutely changing. In fact, the day of the 420 Cannabis Day, I had my video of that intense situation. I had raw footage uploaded, but also a video that I had edited with interviews and all that uploaded and on YouTube before 420 that day. Yeah. Because I edited it on my cell phone. But anyways, what I'm saying is the times are changing for media. Everything is changing so quickly that the new media is taking over.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's rapid, basically as it happens. Yeah. Well, the rally, I mean, within minutes after we had it happened, it was up online everywhere. Photos of it, video, we had a video uploaded within 20 minutes. So, yeah, it definitely allows people to find out what's going on all around them. And that's probably the greatest I don't know, I'm not really sure where the freedom lies, but this whole idea of knowing what's happening and knowing fast what's happening seems to be part of it as well.
I'm sure that's a threat to the powers that be, knowing that we have an ability to get information out to a huge audience in very, very quickly, instantaneously. And they don't want us to have that capability.
I'm shocked that they've let the internet get as far as it has, wow. Whereas before they were able to control all of the centers of that intellectual power, I think, with their culling of celebrities and things, or at least my suspicions of them, going after celebrities who could do that kind of, I don't know, John Lennon, suspicious deaths and all these things. They don't like people who have a lot of power and who are able to do this. Now with the internet, there's these massive groups that are able to be mobilized seemingly quite quickly, and some of them like anonymous and stuff where they're hidden below the surface. I don't know, I'm interested in that as well. I sometimes wonder about, because I know a bit about the history of intelligence, I wonder if some of it is like covert ops to try and fuck with us or what. But I think there are a lot of people out there who are actually working in our favor on that side of it. I don't know, it's like a Discordian, it's like Robert Anton Wilson novels or something. Yeah. You never know who the good guys and bad guys are.
That's the problem with it. It's too easy to for anybody to hide under the mask of the anonymous and embed their ideas and infiltrate the thing and coerce the thing, especially when you have a faceless movement. It's too hard to know really where it's coming from. Not to say that there's not a lot of good people involved.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. No, it's both sides of it. And it's kind of, it's an interesting, I'm intrigued by it all. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating because you just don't know what the truth is. You can never really know. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's too fluid. But my friend, I love your work. I think it's amazing. Tell people where they can find your videos.
Yeah, check it all out at pressfortruth.ca or go straight to YouTube. It's youtube.com/Weaving Spider. And we put out, as many videos as we can, usually 3 or 4 a week at least. But, and then they all go on pressfortruth.ca. So, everyone can get it there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I really check out the Cannabis Day footage that you had up there.
Mm-hmm.
And you did take some footage at the protest at City Hall as well, right?
Yeah. I think I called that video City Hall Smokeout, I believe. So yeah, that's all there on the channel. There's 3 or 4 videos from the last couple of weeks covering that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show,
No
my
worries.
friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late actually here at 307 West Hastings in Vancouver. The sun is setting. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it, man. And I was only supposed to do an hour-long show. Here, you take that. Hi, Carly Marley.
Hi.
How are you, darling?
I'm good.
Look, it looks like our camera's slowly tipping down a little again. Our heads are getting chopped off. Duck. Yeah, that tripod is hilarious. There we go. That's good, Kiwi. That's beautiful. Hilarious. Yeah, so we got 44 chatters or people out there still viewing. That's awesome.
Hi, everybody.
And Jody Emery was out there.
Hi, Jody. Hi, 28
Bye, guys.
Dabs. Hi, Doctor.
Peace. Thanks for coming on, boys. Appreciate that.
Bye.
So, what are you chewing on there, Johnny?
I had to go get some nutrition because I had blood stuff.
I need something like that.
I've been dabbing quite so.
But, so
joint roll.
we have, we've talked about all kinds of cool stuff today, but we have some cool stuff coming up because Kiwi's on board. Johnny, your latest video. What's your latest video?
My latest video, Fresh Frozen Rosin. No, I made Fresh Frozen Rosin Tech. I did that
Frozen Rosin or Frozen Rosin?
No, I did Fresh Frozen, the Rosin Tech, and I also did one baking soils transplanting. So I did a video of mixing soils with just Pro Mix and peat moss and blood meal and bone meal and Epsom salts, and I let it bake in the sun for the last month. And
Sounds delicious.
transplanted it into my new pots, geopots, and I'm going to do it with LED grow again, and I'm just showing what I can do with like virtually no footprint, getting rid of the power consumption and trying to use my own organic soils and stuff like that, and using some microbes I picked up today, and just growing your own. I think that's what everybody should learn how to do and should be doing. It doesn't take much to put in a light and a few plants to be able to produce some medicine for yourself. If you're doing that for yourself, like myself, someone who consumes a lot of cannabis daily, if I can do it, so can you. Come on, guys.
Keep on teaching him, Johnny. That's how it's done. Pass on that information, Yeah. And Carly, now, so we got Kiwi stuff coming up. We're going to publish some of your videos, too. I'll publish the fresh frozen rosins and all that.
It's Fresh Frozen, the Rosin Tech, and it was just what I'm doing here. It's add a little bit of moisture into it, and it's just a different, more terpy. But once again, moisture and the vapor isn't like good for. Don't do soaking wet bubble hash is what I'm saying. Is try and get as much moisture out as possible. I'm getting into freeze drying, and how I really came about the process is because I found some hash that was in the freezer for like 7.
Don't give it all away.
Okay.
I will post it on Pod TV. And I was going to say, Carly also has contributed an article that will be posted. We just have the fresh new site up, so we got a bunch of cool stuff to launch it with.
I got a bunch of stuff coming for you, too.
Yeah.
He always asks me, and I've been writing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm always here helping and contributing, but, waiting for the new site. It looks really good. So, information needs to be out there for people to read and to access. And the new site looks like the place to go, guys.
Yeah. Dr. Clone's watching us on the big full screen right now. He's got the 50-inch wave across. Yeah, put some, get the bud cam going here. The fresh frozen rosin cam. There's the Microsoft Life cam. There you go, Johnny. Rosin cam. Uh-oh.
That's how you get baked in BC.
Okay. There it is. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Keeps a good little consistency, doesn't it? Mr. Marijuana Man's in the house.
Hello.
Yeah.
He came in for a dab.
Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
he did.
He came in for a dab. But so Carly has an article that she submitted that is the first in a series of articles she's working on.
Yes.
Tell people about that article, Carly.
Well, this first article is about the brand Kush Nugs. It talks about
Kush Nugs.
Yes, it talks about the brand, a little bit about where it came from, what they stand for.
And a lot of really awesome pictures of the gear and sexy folk wearing it.
Yes. They are local. The really cool girl, she actually does a lot of hand tie dyeing in her backyard. It's pretty interesting. And yeah, we got a lot of really cool people out, a lot of really good looking people out to take pictures, hang out, smoke weed. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's going to be the first in a bunch of articles, talk about cannabis fashion, where it's available, what there is out there. And if you know,
There's
if
a lot
you
of
have a
crazy shit
brand
going on.
or know anyone who has a brand, tell them to get at me. You can get me, Twitter, Carly Marley 420 if you want to get Instagram, Carly Marley, Facebook,
Yeah.
Carly Marley.
Carly Marley all over
You
there.
can email me at cmaggie@gmail.com if you or anyone you know has a clothing brand, or if you just want to suggest one that I should try to get in contact with that you think other
There's so much
people
cool gear out
would
there.
want to know about. Yeah, there's a lot
This
of really
guy,
cool
I'm
gear
sure,
out
knows
there.
where a lot of it
I'm
is.
sure he does.
Kiwi
And I just want
knows where it
a
all
place
is.
where you can go and you can find it all in one place, and you can just see what's going on, what there is
Yeah.
out there, what there is
And
for
we
you.
actually, Kush Nugs we have available down in the store here at
Yes,
307
we
West
do.
Hastings Street,
Yes, we do.
and probably on our at our Davie location as well.
Yeah.
So
We do.
hit that
We do.
up.
I
Make
saw
sure
they
to spend
just
some
got a bunch
cash
of
down
new
there.
stuff
and
in.
All the money you spend down there supports this activist broadcast, and so every penny you spend in the store makes this kind of thing happen. And also makes things like the Kush Nugs brand happen. She can't do it without the support of all of the folks out there like you. So get on that shit.
Very
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. So my whole marijuana man. Did he take his dab?
Yeah, he said he's breathless and he walked away.
Oh, I'd say he's breathless. He's got the 420 shirt on.
Yeah, delicious.
That's the fresh frozen rosin. The frozen.
just can't get it right, can ya?
Frozen rosin.
Frozen.
I like it.
And it's yeah, and like
Little
what
McFrost.
Greg and everybody and like Kiwi and we're all experiencing is just such an amazing flavor. It's just like everybody's nodding their head. You have we all do. We're all hardcore chronic potheads, and it was just like just another tech, like any kind of tech, like the static dry sifting to the rosin to the bubble ash to everything we're doing. It's I don't know, guys.
Looks like he's 24
I feel
from that
24.
frozen. Yeah.
It's pretty
It's
no dairy. It's no dairy for the last 14 days.
Nice.
No bagels in the morning. No milk. No. Actually, I've been using coconut oil for everything. Coconut oil for cooking my eggs in. Coconut oil for cooking my veggies in. Coconut oil with everything. And wow, guys, it's just so tasty. My food is just so good. So, I mean, it's about health, and I'm getting ready for my surgery, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm healthy. And that's getting away from fat and oils and milk, and coconut oil is good for you. And it's good to actually extract your cannabis with too. Check that. No,
It is.
When is your surgery?
it'll be between September and November.
We wish you the best, and I know when you get back, you'll be Jeanette.
What we haven't talked about are the type of surgeries that I'm going for. There's 3, and no, I'm kidding. And it's just a simple procedure. It's just to help me deal with my spinal cord, right? So it's just something that is needed. So it'll be awesome.
There you go, Johnny boy. Well, Jeanette.
So,
Yeah, that was a fun show. It was just
Good fat.
it's healthy
is.
fat. It's like avocados
Coconut.
and walnuts. It's good fat.
coconut is
It's a
delicious.
fat your body
too.
likes. It's the kind of fat that makes your hair shiny
It's
and
good in
your
soup.
eyes healthy. Yeah.
Tom Kha soup.
Makes your skin nice.
Yep, and
Tom
the
Kha-
beach
you're obsessed
smells like
with that
coconuts.
stuff.
Yeah.
Poop pretty good. I'm always talking about how good it helps you with the pooping.
Poop like you're 24.
I was gonna say like I'm a baby, probably like 3.
All right, Pod TV.
On that note-
yeah, no, I mean, you guys got to go check out the new stuff. Check out the new sites, Cannabis Culture and Pod TV. And like I said, if you do find things that aren't working, please do send that to me at Jeremiah@cannabisculture.com.
Send it to me.
Send it to Johnny.
No, don't. No.
You can send abusive mail to Johnny at.
Jay Brufel. No.
You should have an account set up for that.
That is set. That one's set up. It's go blankyourself.com. I'll definitely get on that for you.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Kush Cup that happened.
Oh
We didn't
my
even mention
gosh.
it. Maybe it's
Jesus.
best left not talked about.
Why?
Maybe it's.
No, maybe I
had
don't
such a
know.
good time on the boat.
I
It was
perfectly-
good. I had enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was giving out rosin dumps. I met people that wanted to come and enjoy and meet people and stuff like that. So, I mean, like any kind of event, there's positive and negative, and I always like the positive. Yeah. And I had a good time
No. And there were.
during the day.
I'm trying. You know what? The thing is, I love Mark. Mark is a very good friend of mine, and he's a good friend of the show. And I've been to all of the Kush Cups, and I think that overall, it's a fun experience. Mostly because I would think I don't have to pay for the experience. I get to go and I work there and stuff. I think I'm not sure. I just am being an objective journalist now. I see why some of the people who put a lot of money into it were maybe less than satisfied with some of the events, and it's because I think of the way that Mark bills it, and it doesn't necessarily return on some of the things that he's saying. And I've talked to Mark about this too, and I love the event, and I think there are a lot of people who are hating on Mark out there, and I think the thing like the big hot box and stuff. Hey man, that's Mark's product, and he can do what he wants with it. And I understand the idea of having a big production. It gets attention. The video that we posted about it, J-Dog's out. Don't forget that phone. He, Mark puts on this production, and it's a theatrical thing, but it gets a lot of attention. So that video that we posted has like 300,000 views or whatever, right? So
all those people who see those videos are getting redirected to like Cannabis Culture and other places where they can become educated and see all sorts of other really important
But also,
things.
I think there's something to this whole idea of what a hotbox really is. Mark, actually, it's funny because everybody wants to hate on Mark for just being a clown and making a big production. But Mark has traveled around the world and has actually been to some of the historic cannabis sites where there's like a cannabis mummy. And where in history, in places like Greece and other places, cannabis was consumed in just that fashion, the same way that we were consuming it there. Maybe not so much of it. And I don't know if they had shatter or whatever that goo that he was pouring over that black tar.
I think there was
they probably had
hash
some
oil.
better stuff than that.
Hash oil.
But yeah, was that what it was?
Apparently, it was RSO that they were pouring on the coals.
All right, it wasn't.
And I do fully agree with all the points that you're making, and people definitely do have the right to hotbox and stuff. I was just thinking that if we do live in this era where we do have access to grade 2 titanium and quartz and other things, perhaps maybe either a large quartz plate or a large grade 2 titanium plate, which has been used in other hotboxes.
So we're not burning on carcinogenic coals?
Exactly, yeah. It just would lend to a better experience, I guess.
I actually thought the hot
I was
box
not
was.
there.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I
kind of
was not
fun and cool. I had a good time in it. I was like, I didn't. They burned the coals outside. Eric, the suit, had the torches on him, burned him down to gray, and that's when they brought him in, poured the stuff on top of him. So that burns all the shit off. And when they came inside, they were hot. And when they poured the stuff on top, I couldn't smell or taste anything other than just that extract. And when I was breathing in, I was really getting a good puff. You got high. I got high.
Did you get high?
I was high. Carly wasn't necessarily as high as I was. I felt I was pretty high. No, just on edibles. She gets high.
I get high. I get high.
Gets drunk too. So it's grown.
Okay, no. Anyways.
Redirect.
Okay, so yeah, no, I liked it. I'd say I got high. It was hard to say. I didn't notice like a significant difference before and after, but like we were smoking weed and dabs all day for like 3 days in a row. So I'm always high. I don't really. I'm just always high. No, I don't know if it was though because I don't. I think the people who got uncomfortable probably got uncomfortable because of the smoke. It wasn't hot. It wasn't even that cloudy because it was a decent-sized space, and it's not like they were making it airtight or anything like that. So it was pretty cloudy. It was pretty cloudy, but it wasn't like unbearable. It was pretty bearable, and a lot of people were like,
stop, drop, and roll more than once or twice. So
Would you
I
like?
thought it was bearable.
Would you like my
I thought it was
heady
bearable.
estimation of what I thought maybe could possibly in the future be improved or whatever? Okay, so let's definitely make sure that the shadow looked kind of dark. It was like maybe shake shadow. No, I'm not too sure. I wasn't there, but at least make sure that the shadow or whatever extract's been put onto the heating surface is clean, purged, and maybe RSA residual solvent analysis tested. Exactly, or just have it absolutely like clean solvent free.
Gotta be bigger and better. Of rosin.
450 grams of rosin.
That's so much rosin, bro. Even for the Frostmaster, that's a lot of frost.
It's like mine. I have to put it.
Anyway,
But if I have to grow it, when's your birthday?
okay, and
Huh? March next year? Shit, I can make that deadline.
Gotta get that hair straightener going.
At that point, I won't need a hair straightener.
no, D-Nail's got a new press. D-Nail has a brand new
It'll be some kind of fracting machine. It'll
hydraulic
just-
press. Yep. Yeah.
So when it come down, it's going to come down
what's
to
that?
fracting. We're going to be able to fract our cannabis.
I don't know what they haven't. They're still doing a marketing
the
thing.
microphone. I'm always high.
They're still doing a marketing thing, trying to figure out the name, but they definitely want to market it. They have 3 different sizes: a small D-Nail, a middle D-Nail, and a large D-Nail.
have the mini.
Rosin. Oh, you've got the mini?
Darren's got the mini.
Name, it just ain't rosin.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
What does it say? Only change when
But-
we make it the venue.
Okay.
The venue was at Mega Hill,
Yep.
and then
No, the venue at Harbor Center where we had an act.
Harbor Event Center.
I didn't mind. I like heavy metal, so I was really happy with it. I think what it really came down to is patients weren't allowed to smoke. You weren't allowed to bring your cannabis in there. They were seizing it at the door. It was a bit of a shitstorm. That's what it came down to. That's the big complaint. It comes down to that people weren't allowed to bring the medicine in. And really, in reality, where can you go anywhere in the city and bring your weed in and smoke and listen to live music other than a big event like the Pacific Coliseum that costs, what, 100 grand? So,
But
I
okay,
don't
here's
know.
the thing: is they could have trusted us
Wait.
not to smoke after they said not to smoke.
yeah,
But-
okay. I smoked in there.
But I mean,
it was worse than that because
wasn't-
last year people were allowed to go in there and they were given sublimators. They were allowed to sit down. And we have patients who are using medical marijuana, and they have certain expectations of the place. That's the problem. There was a $500 charge per table in there, and they had the places sectioned off, and nobody was sitting in them, so they had a bunch of empty sectioned off places.
That's
and
just
where
nonsense.
Dr. Clone was sitting on a container that had sound equipment in it before or something, and on the side of the stage. And it was not comfortable for people who have some requirements there. And I kind of, Mark probably should have come up with some plans for that. But also, to give Mark the benefit of the doubt, apparently he didn't know about the crackdown that had happened. The cops went into all the clubs and went into this Harbor Event Center and said that they can't allow people to smoke weed inside the club and all this stuff. So there was a serious, apparently, crackdown, not just at Harbor Center, but other places too. That's what the bouncers at Harbor Center were saying to us. Mark said that after too.
So one of the bouncers, won't say, but actually is involved with a local compassionate club in town, is very active and supports it and everything. And basically he's like, dude, he let me have in and out privileges because he knows who I was and stuff like that. And he wasn't even allowed to do that. So as much as he supported it and he's in this industry and helps patients every day, as in where he works, he says, please, and I respected that. So, I mean, they did get a warning, and you know what? So, next year.
Yeah.
We're not, don't.
The cruise was awesome.
The boat cruise was fun.
Yeah.
You know what?
There was a little bit of exhaust smoke, but
I mean, there was some exhaust smoke problem. I'm not going to get into the negative parts of everything. There's just no point
hey, man,
because
I'm just being objective.
I know I can be objective too,
And I'm not trying to be negative. I actually had a good time.
not negative. I thought let's
But I
let's talk
understand
about
some
the
of the
bag of goodies in there, the seeds that came in there,
Yeah.
those
The
little
strains
cookies that
themselves.
had those Oreo cookies were amazing.
Yeah, she was eating some of those
That
s'mores.
s'more thing was awesome, hands down.
Yeah.
The strains in there looked pretty good. We did
But
scope a
weren't too
few that
bad.
weren't that good, but I mean there was
Yeah.
some decent weed in there. I saw all the pics that you posted.
Yeah.
I mean overall, someone stole my Mark Clokey sticker.
Oh,
Damn you guys!
I love the Mark stickers. That's the best part of the whole bag, actually.
I mean, I kind of wanted one
We
of
have a couple
those
extras
just
upstairs.
to,
Mailboxes. Yeah.
But overall, you know what? I met everybody. I gave everybody a medtainer in the bag, and the ones that were there, they came over and saw me, so I had to meet lots of people. So I always look at it as it's a great way of getting us all together and having a party and smoking and saying hi.
Yeah.
Because we don't do it enough.
I think it is a
it's
cool-
an event that is put on for us to do that.
And Mark does a cool job of bringing those people together.
I talk about it. I don't do it.
I know
Everybody
that they
talks
were all
about doing these
tired.
events, and no one is doing it. At least he's doing it. That's all.
The
it
thing
is.
was, at the night of, the Trailer Park Boys were out on a boat all day long. They were out for twice, 3-hour shifts with Cloakheed, and they had the night booked as the Trailer Park Boys to host it. But
they showed up for 2 minutes.
They
They
only
sat
showed
in
up
the
for 2
back.
minutes.
I won't get into. They sat in the
Yeah.
back. They showed up. They
then they
basically smoked some joints, drank a couple bottles, got on stage for 2 minutes, and ran out the door.
It was better than nothing, though.
You know what? Some people paid big money and paid $500
And
for that
that's
seat
kinda what
just
was-
to meet the Trailer Park
500?
Boys.
Oh, on the boat?
No, just to get that seat there at the thing. So the $500.
Oh, the
for
$500
table.
for the table, yeah.
Yeah, two people. They paid
Yeah.
$5 for that table strictly to see the Trailer Park Boys because they envy and love them.
And it was billed on Club Zone as a Trailer Park Boys
Exactly.
event. And they didn't, it was weird because we saw it on Club Zone billed at 8 p.m. That's when the tickets to the doors open. But the Trailer Park Boys showed up at 12:30, and Clokey didn't even show up.
Of course not.
No, well, usually Mark shows up.
Yeah, but you know what? He had a long day.
He was.
himself.
That's the thing.
He was done.
I think
and the day
they were
before
all
he
sick,
was
I think.
going, and there was people sick, even with
Yeah.
Rocky and all those guys. So I mean, here's people that are putting a lot into it. There's a lot that goes into it. I watch.
It's
them
hard
pack
to
bags
do
and
a
stuff like that.
6 or 7 hours of boat cruise, and then go host a show. So,
No,
and you
that's
know
the
what?
easy
They all
part.
came up. They came on stage. They were hilarious for the few minutes they were there, and it was pretty funny. The Trailer Park Boys are good guys. So,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah,
You know what?
it
All
was
said
fun.
and done. I mean, I guess there'll be a next Kush Cup next year. Here comes Tommy.
oh yeah, there'll be another Kush Cup. Tommy boy,
Tommy.
he's got the dope pendant swinging
He's got
around the
he's
neck.
got the penman. He's got the hat.
the
He's
dope.
got the glasses.
Glasses, looking all slick today. Backpacking it. But anyways,
Bag.
we're rambling on.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're trying to wrap this up a while ago.
Goodbye,
Somehow
guys.
we got extended off into other things. I was going to tell you about the other awesome Pod TV shows. Watch the Redbeard Show tomorrow at 4 p.m. on Pod TV.
Always.
Watch Opus, the 420 Lifestyle at 4 p.m. on Mondays. And on Wednesdays, From Under the Seed Desk with Marijuana Man and Al the Alchemist. PM, that's 4 p.m. on Wednesday.
Don't always
Check that
forget
shit out, boys and
Fridays
girls.
for your show,
My
Cannabis
show.
Culture News.
Every Friday. Oh, and Carly will be co-hosting the show on Monday with Mr. Opus.
I will be, yes.
Again, he had to work last Monday.
I did.
Yeah, and then wait, Opus didn't do a show last Monday.
Opus canceled the show last Monday, and the Monday
Yeah.
before I was working.
So
I will
you've
be
been.
back
It's been a. If you need your Carly fix, there you
I
go.
think we're gonna start doing some pre-recorded shows just to fill your guys' heart with more information.
Yep.
Like a Wednesday, we'll
should.
pre-record a show like on the weekend to play for Thursdays.
Don't be telling them that. Then they're gonna start demanding it.
Something we'll just call it the show.
We love you, Pod TV. Thanks for tuning in. It's always good to see you guys in the chat. Dr. Clone,
always fun
Dude,
talking with you
28
guys.
dabs later, Clam Toes, Slippery Trope.
Oh, I'm just saying my hairline is growing. Just a little heads up. I'm gonna bring back
Vapor Central
the mullet.
in the house.
The mullet's coming back this.
Love you, Vapor Central. Oh, and if that's Chris out there, yes, I got your text message about the new site. I would say don't do anything yet because it's the Pod TV side isn't fully functioning with the Cannabis Culture side. But me and you will talk soon. Chris, I'll give you a shout, brother. Love you lots. Peace, Pod TVers. We'll see you soon.
Peace.